KPCS, the Who's Next? KPCS, the Who's Next? KPCS, the Who's Next? Yo, KPCS, the Who's Next?
Gather round my friends, it's Sunday again. Time to join the convo with a babble don't end.
It's the craziest chat show, have you heard? It's Kevin
Pollock.
Yo, that's the word.
KPCS, the Who's Next? KPCS, the Who's Next? KPCS, the Who's Next? Yo, KPCS, the Who's Next?
He's a chatterboxer with a KO streak, knocking out mad guests every single week. There's Matthew Perry, the Carvey, McFarlane, John Hamm, Gaffigan, Lisa Loeb, and a lean named Sam.
Kevin Pollock made me an alcoholic, and alcohol was a chat show, you see. He spits a mean chat, he always rocks steady, but just like KP said,
we're not ready.
KPCS, the Who's Next? KPCS, the Who's Next? KPCS, the Who's Next? Yo, KPCS, the Who's Next?
We're not ready.
Welcome back once again to Kevin Pollock's Chat Show. I am, as always, Chat Show. How are you? You're not buffering. I'm being a dick. You know what? It's especially fun realizing that 72% of our fans listen to the show. As an audio podcast. Welcome back to show 144. Yes, they said it wouldn't happen, and here it is. And we got ourselves another sponsor, a new sponsor today. In fact, this podcast is brought to you by the fine folks at GoDaddy.com. Say you need a website? Everyone needs a website, don't they? For your family or your business or your crazy hobbies. If you are going to go online, which you should, come on, people. Go to GoDaddy.com. It's easy, it's affordable, it's a name you know and trust. Did you know, for example, KevinPollockStinks.com is available? So is ZachLeviIsTheMan.com. That's available. You can have that right now. Can't believe no one has snatched those two up, neither can I. They have email, online storage, tons of stuff you need. Now, here's the good news. Just by watching or listening this particular episode of KevinPollock'sChatShow.com, you are in for a 10% discount. That's right! So go to GoDaddy.com, and in the promo code, just type in Kevin10, Kevin the number 10, and you get yourself 10% off your next order. Go to GoDaddy.com, type in Kevin10 in order to save 10% just for being a fan of the chat show. Yo! Thanks to the fine folks at GoDaddy.com for being a sponsor of this damn show. Or I could read the whole thing as Christopher Walken. Wow, that's exciting. GoDaddy. GoDaddy.com. 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 That code again, Kevin10. Kevin10. Get it? 10% off. Kevin10. Wow. It's crazy. All right, I think we'll save the rest for the middle of the show when I have to do that again. So happy to have the GoDaddy.com folks with us. Very exciting. Let's see. If you, we've got a lot of emails, by the way. Thank you for that. Write to us at contact@KevinPollock'sChatShow.com, you son of a bitch. And you write in and you say, hey, which I find obnoxious, if not pretentious. Hey, what is that? Hey, Kevin, how can I support the show? Well, not only do we need you to go to GoDaddy.com, but if you go to our chat show site, the homepage, there's a couple things you can do there. You can click there, go right to the GoDaddy site, and get on your way to getting it at 10%. We got a little banner on the homepage of KevinPollock'sChatShow.com. Also, if you're on your way to Amazon anyways, to purchase one of a billion things, why not go to our home site homepage first. See that? You just click on there, for those of you watching, for those of you just listening, and it takes you directly to Amazon.com. So you spent 3 seconds and you helped our show, you supported us on your way to Amazon.com or GoDaddy.com. Scrolling down the page, we see, oh look, there's a banner for GoDaddy. You just click on that, boom, here, GoDaddy. Yeah, and you're looking at that chick in a shirt. There's a couple ways right there where you don't have to do anything, you have to spend anything. Just on your way elsewhere, stop by, say hi first. That's really what I'm saying. All right. I believe I've said enough for those of you who've been asking, how do I support you, you son of a bitch? Those of you in Jacksonville, Florida. Hey, Jacksonville, Florida, I'll be at the Comedy Zone, bringing the funny next weekend. That's the last weekend in the April, and then we come back here a week from today with the Jason Biggs, talking about what it's like to fuck pie. If you want to know if I'm in your neighborhood, go to kevinpollack.tv. Jamie?
Yes.
How are you, hon? Do you miss your Sammy? Where's Sammy?
Look at all this space.
Look at all this spreading out far and wide.
I know. I love it. And he's not reading over my shoulder, jabbing me, saying, why'd you write that? You know, it's fantastic.
Is that what happens during the show?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
I got to watch what I say.
And also, the one thing I do know about Sammy, I think most people do, a little gassy.
Oh, always.
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 So he's dropping bombs during the show
Left and right.
that you get to enjoy mostly.
Yes, not unlike Cartman in the most recent South Park.
Oh, my God. If you're caught up on South Park.
I would be Kyle.
Oh.
I have
We don't want to give it away to anyone who hasn't seen the episode, but holy shit. Holy shit, it's another great season from South Park. It's just ridiculous. Is this like 14 years in, by the way? It's something big. It's something like that. And they just keep outdoing themselves. Are you excited about Cinco de Mayo? I know you're getting all geared up.
I am excited for Cinco de Mayo. That's Elaine, my party planning committee partner. Elaine, that's her favorite party of the year.
Yeah.
So we're gearing up. Party planning committee met earlier this week.
Will we, in fact, have a couple of Mexicans this year?
I know one for sure.
Just one for sure.
Yeah, it's coming.
75 people.
Yes.
And one
Mexican.
wearing appropriate attire. So that's exciting, right?
Exciting. I'm excited for our guest today.
Another piñata?
Can I talk about that?
How excited you are for today's guest?
Yes.
I wish you would.
Because, well, I've talked to him about it before, because I love Tangled, and I'm so excited to talk about it, and Disneyland.
Yeah,
So,
in general.
Because I'm a big
Which
Disney
we
nerd.
saw him at, but he didn't know we saw him.
I know.
We were
sitting
a
right
foot
next to
away,
him.
but it was very dark. I didn't even know he was there until John Stamos sat in front of everyone and took a photo. I thought, why is Stamos a photographer? I thought, paparazzi here now? Oh, it's Stamos. All right, so we'll get to that in a second. All right, well, let's get him out of so we can talk about it. Talkin' Walkin', also, thank you very much for checking out. If you enjoyed the little Christopher Walken thing I laid on you there, there's a new comedy podcast I'm doing called Talkin' Walkin'. Walkin' spelled like talkin', I-N, no G, I-N. I changed the spelling of Walken to I-N, so that his family won't sue me. There it is now, up on the website there, talkinwalkin.com. That's if you want to YouTube something and laugh your ass off, he cooks chicken with pears. So our artist drew a little chicken and pears dish for Mr. Walken and I to share there on the website you're looking at. And there's Edie, sitting on the chair watching us, wearing her tuxedo as she does. Just dropped episode number 7 with Michael Bunin, very funny stuff. So check that out, you son of a bitch. Yeah, all right, I think we're done with the wait, oh yeah, there you are, you're showing him, there it is on iTunes, number 7. Yeah, just click on there. Just then you make a place with the thing. All right. And thanks for all your reviews there, too. Much appreciated. Please subscribe to the iTunes or the talkinwalkin.com. We asked you to write in and talk to us, folks. And some of you have. This first one under the Ask Kevin, if only we had a graphic.
Ask Kevin.
What the fuck? It's like a real show. This one from John Lichenwallner. Hi, Mr. Pollack. See how easy Pollack is to say? I enjoy your podcast, and I have one question. In The Usual Suspects and Indian Summer, you clearly have chest hair. In the podcast, it seems to have disappeared. Where is it? Am I doing this? Is this happening? Yeah, you're right. There's nothing there. Fuck's your problem, John? Or is that just how to win $5 at a bet on a friend? I'll bet I can get him to open his shirt. What happened there, John? It's the same chest hair. Maybe it's a little grayish, fucker, but it's still there, bastard. It's over here that's not so much, but here's still there. Thanks, John. From Line Station, PA. Where's Line Station? No idea. Pittsburgh says I have no idea. We also ask you to write us at contact@kevinpaulachatshow.com and tell us how you do the show. Do you, in fact, listen and have no idea what the fuck is going on? Or do you watch? Hank Schiffman, another easy name. Hey, Kevin. Hey, Kevin's people. Just started listening mere days ago via iTunes. Caught the thrilling adventure hour at San Francisco Sketch Fest. Mentioned my appreciation of Paget Brewster to a friend and was pointed at your interview with her. Now I'm mainlining. Thanks, Hank Schiffman, Mountain View, California. Yeah, Paget Brewster was one of our early guests, like in the first 10 maybe. She's fantastic. Love her. Yeah, all the archives are on hulu.com. Check us out there, or the site itself if you want to watch any of the archive shows. That's the other thing I probably should have mentioned earlier. Go to Hulu if you really want to support the show and watch us there. And lastly, we ask you to write in your Larry King game. Come on, give it up. Our guest is going to try one at the end of the show, as they always do, but we want you to win a T-shirt, a Kevin Pollak Chat Show T-shirt. Chris Evans is this week's winner. And Chris's Larry King game, nope, is coming to you later. All right. Thank you, Kenny. You are so fucking fired. He's going to work on that. We're going to come back to it. I promised Chris Evans T-shirt, and we'll come back to it. I don't memorize these things. We have a teleprompter. So excited. We danced around the notion, and then I just sent out a text and said, "Hey, what are you doing this Sunday?" And he said, "Who's this?" Well, you've been writing on the Twitter. You've been writing us, telling us how excited you are. He needs no introduction, therefore, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Zach Levi. Hello, sir.
Hi.
Thank you so much. Were you sorry for the 17 minutes?
No,
that took
no, I was thoroughly entertained, although I feel like a total turd because I think I'm the only person laughing in here. Your crew is so over you. They're like, oh, here he goes walking again. He's so not funny. Oh, we get it, Kevin.
I don't think Kevin's made me laugh in like 6 months.
That's how a relationship works, I think.
Yeah.
You reach that point, it's like, all right.
There's 5 years talking right there. She did her 5 years.
No, I'm glad. I'm really glad. We talked about this. We were at Mark Burnett's Christmas party.
Was that your first time at that annual?
That was the first time I'd been at the annual Mark Burnett Christmas party.
And there, you look over to your left, and there's Sarah Palin.
There's Sarah Palin. You also look over to your right, and there's a cage of doves. Were they? Was it turtle doves specifically? It was quite a shindig. The food was fantastic. It was a very hot dog stand, and it was a really. Like speaking of Sarah Palin, but it was also like the whole group was very eclectic.
Yeah.
And there were people there that, I mean, if people were taking bets, it would have been like, well, who's going to throw the first punch kind of thing, there were people from both sides of the aisle, politically, spiritually, whatever,
It's true. Anytime you get Barbra Streisand and Sarah Palin under the same roof.
That's who I would have said was going to or at least that's
one fight. Of the signs of the apocalypse, if I'm not mistaken.
So,
by the way, those two in the same room.
Well, they're two of the horsemen. Horsewomen. Horse people.
As it were.
Is it horse people?
Yeah. I think any way you put horse in front of it, they're going to be offended.
Yeah.
That's that. And also when you walk up, the carolers, I mean, the whole thing.
The whole thing. He spares no expense.
If you have that.
It's like the old guy in Jurassic Park. He's just, he's putting it all together.
Right.
He's such a sweet guy, though.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And you guys worked together.
We did.
A long time ago.
Yeah, but his story is fascinating. I've been trying to get him in here, and he's never, like I emailed him and said, hey, we want to win. Yeah, I'm in Africa till April.
Yeah.
Oh, no, July. And this was 4 months ago. He was like special ops for the Queen of England.
Yeah. He's crazy.
His story is ridiculous.
He's legit. And that guy, he's got so many ideas. I mean, clearly, he's created so many shows and continuing to create so many shows and so much content. And every time I see him, it's like 3 seconds of "Hi, how are you?" and then immediately, I've been thinking about these ideas. Yeah, I've been thinking about it. Tell me what you think. Because if you get celebrities, and we go and we special ops, special ops and celebrities, and we're coming up and we're going to put bombs on submarines and stuff like that. Not real bombs, And you're like, I love it. That's fantastic.
That is the best Mark Burnett impression I've ever. That was crazy. Thank God you didn't bury the lead.
That'll be far better than my Larry King if that ever happens.
Yeah.
And then we saw each other at Disneyland.
Right.
Well, or rather, you saw me at Disneyland. Yes. You saw me in Stamos.
Well, to be clear, I didn't even realize Stamos was literally sitting next to me until it was over and he got up to say goodbye.
Yeah, let's take a big picture.
It was you guys. for the record, came in when all the lights were down already. You
We
were
were a
sort of
little
last
late
second
to
arrivers.
Phantasmic. We were a
which was
little late,
fine.
yeah.
Listen, that's the way
I've
to...
seen it.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
I've seen
Of
it.
course you have. You were there when they built it. You said, no, fellas, less light.
Yeah, no. Can we take Mickey and Minnie? Let's just switch them.
Right.
That was art directing.
And also, the dragon breathes fire. I mean, that part of the
does.
thing is pretty fantastic. Or
It's phantasmic for
if
that
you
matter.
will.
It's a good show, man.
It's a great show.
I think that's one of the things about Disneyland that, I mean, I grew up in Southern California, so I've been to Disneyland many, many times. And it was not this trip, but the one right before, because I go a lot. I know. And James got Snow White on the front of her laptop, by the way.
Oh,
I mean,
that's just the beginning.
That's the beginning.
She's got the past.
the beginning of my Disnerdia.
It's true, though. She's got the past that feels like a credit card.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's legit.
But now
people know her by name.
After Tangled,
Flo.
though, do they just say you come whenever you want kind of thing?
No, well, so...
Yeah, how does that work?
So essentially, I'd gone a tremendous amount of times growing up as a kid.
Right.
If we wanted to go to like big roller coasters, we'd go to Magic Mountain. But you know, Disneyland, especially as a young kid, I was terrified of roller coasters when I was growing up.
Yeah.
I mean, I was probably like 10 and still kind of scared to go on Pirates of the Caribbean because my older sister was really like pulling my chain and being like, "Oh, there's these two huge drops and you get really wet." And I'm like, "I can't go on." And then of course I go on and I'm like,
I'll kill you.
"You bitch! You were lying to me the whole time."
Yeah.
So we went a lot, and then I did this sitcom called Less Than Perfect that was on ABC, owned in the Disney family, right? So they used to do this thing called Primetime Preview Weekend, where all the stars of the shows would. I mean, it was so silly. It was fun, kind of, and it was my first real gig. So to me, I was like, yeah, whatever, you know. And you do like a Q&A with a little audience inside California Adventure Park, and they had a parade. They put all the stars, 2 by 2 in convertibles and drove us through California Adventure with people in the park lined up going, and by the way, and I'm like, nobody knows anything about me, and I'm sitting in the back of the convertible going, hey, hey. I mean, I just try to cheese it up. I got like Mickey gloves and was waving. But the cool thing was they would give us...
Was Andy Dick there for that?
Andy Dick was there.
See, now that's...
Andy, Eric Roberts, Will Sasso, Patrick Warburton, Andrea Parker, Sherry Shepard, Sarah Rue, and me. It was
again, the other two horsemen, I think. Yeah. Andy Dick and Eric Roberts.
And Eric Roberts.
Yeah.
Oh, they're good. They're good.
I love them.
I know you do. I know. But the really cool thing was that they give you the guides. They give you like, you know, if you go to Disneyland and you have some pull or you want to spend the cash on it, you can get these really cool guides wearing very fashionable plaid vests, and you go to the front of the line. You don't wait in line.
Well,
there's 2 levels of it.
Yeah, anyone can rent them.
Yes.
And celebrities go to the front of the line.
Yes.
Because we've done the celebrity tour guide thing.
Yeah.
But they charge you.
Oh, they'll charge you.
And now they charge you
a lot of money.
Yeah, you can bring a group of 10, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Anyways, so...
But yeah, so we would get VIP treatment, and once, you know, if you're people who go to Disneyland and I was so used to waiting in lines for hours and hours. But I'll tell you, you know, one of the things about Disneyland that's so great is that it really does have like a fun ambiance, if I can even be so stupid or bold to say that. You know, you walk around and it's fun. It's like that's what I was going to say is like the time before last, I found myself sitting off of rides because I've been on them so many times. And can recite them, you know, like Haunted Mansion and stuff.
Right.
Is this room actually stretching? And I mean, like, I'm that guy. Everybody's like, shut up. Who's the... Oh, it's that Chuck dude.
You're a script reciter? I hate those. I hate you people.
Well, you got to make it fun for yourself, don't you?
You're ruining the magic for everybody else.
At the cost of everyone else. Stop it. We'll get into this later.
I always do yell when the guy falls from the ceiling.
Yeah. Well, he's not falling. He's just hanging there.
Well, at the very end. Doesn't he? You can drive my way.
No. He's just hung. He's just hanging there.
Oh.
It's a scrim, and the thunder or the lightning comes on.
Right, but then there's a sound at the end of it.
Is he supposed to be falling?
Jamie, you want to weigh in? The guy hanging at the
He
very end.
just hung himself.
But in the lights,
Master Gracie hung himself. It's Master Gracie, right, Kenny?
Yeah. But isn't there a sound of at the end of it? There's a scream and then a sound of a body hitting the ground.
Yeah.
How drunk were you the last time you went on the...
Oh, you want to go there? All right, look it
I
up.
had a giant turkey leg and a giant beer.
I've never.
But that was and that day, by the way, I had randomly run into John. Oh God. Oh wow.
Now, there's a few things we need to discuss here.
One is, why are you going down on Tweedledum?
This was a captured picture by me as she spun around, right? And this guy's got his hand on her back saying, yeah, we're good. Like, he's saying, I can't believe this is happening. And then my favorite part is this guy, the civilian over on the side.
Over here going, what's
happening
going
over there?
on in that
Also, you know,
cup?
you can't ride with those people whenever you want. I mean, you don't see Tweedledee and Dum in the teacup.
No.
Yeah.
No. Were you spinning a lot?
Were we spinning?
Spinning.
Yeah. No, I don't recall. I don't really remember. I was really drunk.
Yeah, we were
going down on Tweedledum.
They tricked me into a threesome.
They tricked me. They told me there was candy in his pants.
And by the way, they kept their costumes on the whole time. So is there a line that you cross over after A Tangled happens?
Yeah, well, so by the way, I think I told you this before. I'm incredibly long-winded, so tell me to shut up at any point.
That's what the show is.
I know, I love that.
Yeah.
I think we talked about that
We
at
get
Mark's.
to be
It's like
long-winded.
You can talk. You can actually talk about things. So anyway, Less Than Perfect, got those passes, spoiled for life. Once you have that front of the line, it's like going back and waiting in line for hours at a time. That really sucks. You know, once you've had that, the fruit, the good fruit. And but then that, you know, I've been off Less Than Perfect for quite some time. And then Tangled pops up. And so then I get a little bit more of that love. And so we've done that a couple of times. So I don't know. It's spaced out just enough. It's like once a year, twice a year. And sometimes we'll just go and we'll go and wait in line and hang out. But that particular day, I had some other friends who were down there with Chick-fil-A, who they were there on like this corporate kind of like looking at Disney as a company that they have a lot of respect for, and just the way they do the kind of family experience of sorts, you know, and they do things. I think big companies will go and look at other big companies that they respect and be like, how do they do certain things? So they had gotten a guide. And they were like, hey, come down, and and I've had Chick-fil-A bring food to some of my birthday party or whatever. You like Chick-fil-A?
Dude, when is the chicken ride happening? That's what all this leads to, right? There's going to be a chicken
They're gonna
ride?
have a giant chicken ride. I hope so.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. But it was, so I go down and join them. I get down to the Grand California, the hotel there, where you meet guides or whatever.
Yeah.
And we're trying to connect with them. And I go to use the bathroom. I come out, and my buddy's like, "You're friends with John Stamos, right?" And I've known John for a couple of years in passing. I was like, "Yeah." And he says he's standing right there. So I walk over. I'm like, "John, hey, what? Blah blah blah." And he's with some other friends of mine, just totally very randomly.
Wow.
And so that's why we ended up connecting later on in the park. Scott Grimes, who was on ER with John, super funny, talented dude, also happened to be in the park that day. So he ended up going with us. And then as I'm driving away from Disneyland, I'm getting a text from you saying, "So I saw you at Fantasmic. I didn't want to bug you guys, you and Johnny Stamos." I'm like, why wouldn't you say hi, you idiots?
Yeah. Well,
We're
what
standing
happened
right
was,
next to you.
from the idiot's perspective,
Me being the idiot.
we're watching Fantasmic, and you guys came in late, so this group sits next to us, which, it was all dark. So
You just assume we're douchey
I
late
couldn't
people.
see anyone's face. I just thought, who are the dicks that showed up late?
Yeah.
I'm yelling because I'm like I was waiting for King Louis to come out, and I'm like, I'm gonna miss King Louis.
Yeah.
Because these people are walking in front of me. It's all
King
I
Louis
wanted.
comes around on the boat.
Yes.
Right?
We're doing his little monkey
Can't
dance.
get enough of the King Louis.
Well, my favorite Disney song is "I Want to Be Like You."
That's one of my favorite songs
So
for sure.
that's
Yeah.
fine.
The long storied history, we just lost one of the Sherman brothers.
Yes, the older one.
The older one. Yeah, that was sad.
One of the original songwriters.
Yeah,
Right?
they were brothers.
Yeah.
They wrote a lot of Jungle Book, right?
They wrote The Jungle Book and Mary Poppins
yeah.
and It's a Small World and
Yeah.
And
Aristocats.
right, it was very sad. One of them. we lost.
Aristocats.
Yes.
Aristocats. Yeah. So even when I took the photo, it wasn't until later that I realized that was him doing that because it was so dark. That's how much I couldn't see.
Yeah, you were just thinking that guy looks like Uncle Jesse, but I don't.
Also with the hat and and it's dark out.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until it was all over and lights came up and you guys stood up for a second and someone took a photo. So I had like 3 seconds. Do I interrupt the photo? No, that doesn't seem right. And then as soon as the photo was gone, there was a race to get the hell out of there, which is understandable. And then it was more of there wasn't a real opportune moment.
No, I hear you.
And also I didn't know you guys had come as 6 different groups that ended up as one.
It was so random.
So I assumed everyone was together, and then I didn't want to stop.
Yeah, no, it was just one of those magical Disney moments.
Well, yeah.
You know, it happens.
Yeah. Also, we should talk about the music and part of it, because not just the Sherman Brothers, but to grow up loving those movies and feeling a kinship to them, to then suddenly find yourself in one of them, has to be not only fun, great gig, fantastic, exciting, but a little surreal.
Totally.
Right?
Totally. Yeah, I mean, I really am, when Mandy Moore, who was the voice of Rapunzel in Tangled, she and I, actually the most we ever worked together in that entire process was doing the press for the movie, because the only thing we did together in actually recording was the duet we did. We never did a lick of dialogue together.
Wow.
You've done voiceover, so like, it's just you. It's you in an ISO booth and the directors, and you'll do each line, 1,000 times and try and get that right inflection. And it's really a testament to animation directors to be able to kind of know where everybody was, their levels, and be like, yeah, that will fit in with what they did, and getting you there in that process.
Right.
So ironically, the most, Flynn and Rapunzel were ever together was when we were doing all the press and talking to people in San Francisco or San Diego. She did a lot. I was still doing the last season of Chuck, so I wasn't able to go on a lot of it. But then we ended up going to Australia together and doing press. Anyway, one of the things that I would constantly say in that press tour was, I am a Diz nerd. I mean, I grew up going to Disneyland a lot, watching and loving all the movies. When I was a kid in the early 80s, the Disney Channel was just starting, and there was no original programming. There was no Hannah Montana or anything like that. It was all just the old cartoons in the Disney Vault. So all the old Mickeys and Goofies and Plutos and Donalds, all of their short films that they would put before films in the theaters, like Pecos Bill and Johnny Appleseed and
Jamie, who's your favorite?
Humphrey the Bear.
Humphrey the Bear.
Oh yeah, gotta pick it up. Oh yes, yes. Oh, it was so good. Yeah. All of them. I mean, I was just a huge fan. Paul Bunyan. I think I said that one. Ferdinand the Bull. There's so many little gems. There was one. Do you remember the one about Johnny Fedora and Alice Bluebonnet in the window of the department store? Yeah, and then one of them gets sold. Alice Bluebonnet, and then Johnny Fedora gets sold, and then there's these 2 hats that they have like they call to each other, but it's all sung. It's like just one. Almost like a music video kind of, but the hats have eyes and the hills have eyes. The hats have eyes, and one of them's on a guy's head, and one of them, and the girl's gone, and then it's really Johnny's kind of journey of like getting blown off the guy's head, and then like falling into a gutter, and then like getting picked up by a homeless dude who pats it off, and he's getting all tattered and whatnot, and then eventually at the end, you see somebody pick him up, cut a couple holes in his brim, stick him on top of a horse's head, and he's like, he's had it. Johnny's like, oh, I've lost the love of my life. This is the end of my life. I'm done. I'm on a horse's head. And then he looks over, and Alice Bluebonnet is on the girl horse's head, on the mare, and then they ride off together. I mean, it's just great storytelling. I think Disney's always been famous for being able to tell great stories, even in short amounts of time, with inanimate objects, or rather inanimate objects, So yes, if I haven't explained enough how much I love Disney and how big a fan I was growing up, and as a kid, dreaming about doing voice. I used to do a horrible Donald Duck, which I won't do anymore because I don't do it anymore.
But I can only do the sneeze.
You can do the Donald sneeze?
all I got.
That's great.
But
That's great.
it's especially great if you're 5.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Or 5 at heart. Hey. So even as a kid, I dreamed about doing something Disney,
Yeah.
and then I got to be a Disney prince and sing in it, and it was great, man. I mean,
Yeah.
not only was I proud of what we were able to accomplish, I mean, Disney did a great job with it. The movie
really
did
did.
very well. I still have friends texting me or tweeting me. Your voice has saturated my home. I don't know how I feel about that.
Because the 4-year-old wants to see
Because the 4-year-old watch it on loop and
every day.
yeah. So it's an honor. It's huge.
Well, I would assume so. So it's great to hear that. At the same time, I was feeling like this has got to be one of those moments for an actor where, there's proud of that project I worked on, and then, this thing will last forever, and then, now I'm a part of some pantheon. I mean, it really is, because we were talking about this, Jamie and I, before. Tangled pulled off that thing that the early Disney movies did, which is amazing story. And the fact that I wanted to remember the horse's name, who's my favorite one.
Maximus.
The fact that Maximus does not speak is
Nor
so
Pascal.
Nor Pascal, and they steal the movie.
so classic, though.
Sons of bitches.
Well, stealing, schmealing, but the fact that just felt again like that classic storytelling.
Oh yeah.
So, to me, this film really felt like, more so than a lot of the Pixar stuff for me. This really felt like,
really? See,
like
I
a
think
classic Disney film.
I definitely think that Pixar and Disney have their own. There is a slight difference in the tone, I guess, overall.
Not much. It's very slight.
It's slight, but
and they both do brilliant work. Believe me.
Well,
Toy Story's.
it's John Lasseter, man.
Yeah, exactly.
John Lasseter is a genius.
Well, he's beyond
and
that.
everyone he's brought together in that world is
Yeah.
a genius. And that guy, talk about Disney nerds. That guy lived, ate, breathed, crapped. I mean, the guy worked at the Jungle Cruise.
Did he?
He worked at Disneyland. He went to Cal Arts. You should watch the Disney or the Pixar story. The Pixar story. It's a documentary called The Pixar Story. Blow your mind. I mean, just the fact that guy.
He was a guide on the Jungle Cruise.
Yes, which by the way is my favorite ride at Disneyland.
Give me a little bit.
Oh,
you know you can.
Gosh.
Back of the.
Oh yeah, we're reaching. What is the name of it? I can't remember.
Schweitzer Falls.
Schweitzer Falls, named after the famous Mr. Falls. Mm-hmm. That was by the way one of my as a kid. I remember getting that joke, and it was one of those like because you get it, and all of my friends around me are like, man, I don't get it. But that's why I love the Jungle Cruise so much, is because it's just bad stand-up comedy on water. That's what it is.
Bad puns.
And Jamie loves the puns. The puns.
Oh, the puns are great.
My problem was when I was a kid the first time I went on the Jungle Cruise, it was ruined for me because I actually had the one out of a billion Jungle Cruise guides who was very monotone and decided to do the whole thing this way. Look out, look out, look out. Oh, he just missed us.
Yeah.
It's just no heart. He'd given up.
They all kind of do that on some. That is kind of the shtick, though. It's
Well,
like
when
they
they-
all play it like I've been here for 20 years.
Yeah, well, that's funny.
Which can be very funny.
Yeah.
Although it would be interesting. I'd love to see somebody just take it another direction and be like, "Welcome to the Jungle Cruise. We are really going to get into some big stuff right now." I love when I love, and they're always changing it up a little bit. I think what happened. Because I think way back in the day, it used to be very earnest, right? When they first opened it, it was like, and that was animatronics at its best at that point, and the hippos and everything, And then I think 20 years later, like 1975 or whenever, I don't know if the Jungle Cruise was there when the park first opened, but I'd say in the 70s.
Yes.
Just the burnout stoners or whoever was working the Jungle Cruise, started really just fucking around, just having fun and being like, oh yeah, and then that happened, oh my God, and really going off script.
Right.
And I think it was kind of a testament to Disneyland where they were like, okay, we get it. The ride's kind of antiquated. Let's start having a little fun with it. But you can't just say whatever you want. We're going to create some scripts.
Right.
And some of it, I think, is still very funny.
It is.
But there's so much material that you can mine out of that. When all the tribesmen come up, and they start essentially throwing spears, and the guy ducks down on the mic. You know, I remember the first time I was on it when they incorporated that. I was like, "That's fun. That's fun. I get it.
Yeah.
It's an audio effect. I get it."
Yeah.
My favorite guide was one time, during that part with the spears,
Yeah.
he goes, Star Tours, what are you doing here? This is a no-fly zone.
That's great. And then when Indiana Jones was first built, and they said, and if you look over to your right, the most dangerous creatures in the jungle, human beings, or something, you know, like all those little bits. Anyway, Lasseter he was a Jungle Cruise skipper. He went to Cal Arts. He learned under, you know, some of, I think, Roy Disney even, I think.
Sure.
Or Walt. Anyway, started working at Disney Animation, worked his way up, was directing Brave Little Toaster.
Jesus.
And Brave Little Toaster was one of the first films that he was trying to incorporate computer graphics into. And if you go back and watch it, you can see there is a little bit of it.
Right.
And he was making a big pitch to the head of the studio at the time, who I can't remember, nor should anybody remember, because the guy made a horrible decision, but still worked out. So he goes, look, I really think animation, we're going to start incorporating more computer graphics and, you know, computer-generated animation. And the guy just sat there, you know, old school dude. He just sat there and took it all in. He's like, all right, thanks a lot, John. You can go back to your office. John goes back to his office. I'm kind of paraphrasing here. Somebody comes down and says, so, John, thank you so much for the work you put into Brave Little Toaster and here at Disney. We're actually going to pull you off of directing the film, and we're letting you go from the company. This guy, everything he ever wanted was to work for Disney. And he was one of their best and brightest. And they said, bye-bye, you're gone. So then he gets picked up at Pixar at the time, which wasn't called Pixar. I can't remember what it was. But that was all, by the way, Lucasfilm.
Right.
That was all at up there with those guys. And
Lucas Ranch.
Lucas Ranch, yeah. And so
ILM.
Light and Magic, yeah, exactly. And it was this little niche thing that Lucas was trying to, like, all right, how do we keep building this world of computer-generated graphics and stuff and animating? And they would do it. They worked on a lot of different things, but it was still kind of a losing business. They weren't really making money on it. And so, and at one point, Lucas was like, I can't keep footing this bill. I can't do it. And so he went to go sell the company, and it was Steve Jobs who bought it. And then Pixar really took off with that, with Toy Story. Disney now being like, oh, we kind of dig that whole concept.
Yeah.
And then obviously Pixar has become, to me, I think honestly they are the best, I think they're the best studio in Hollywood, in the world. Because they put such an emphasis on telling a story.
Yeah,
what a novel idea.
Right.
Tell a story with a movie.
Yeah, with a heart.
Yeah, with hearts and characters that you care about.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's insane to me, you know, all the typical crap that you constantly hear of, you know, from certain executives here or there of like, you know, there's not enough going on in the first 10 minutes. You know, we really need somebody to say something or something needs to blow up. Watch WALL-E. WALL-E is a robot. It's not even a real robot. It's not even like Johnny Five. It's not something you can touch. It's an animated robot.
Right.
And his little animated cockroach friend that say nothing for 30 minutes. And you care more about them in 30 minutes than you care about real people on film. You know, to me, that's a testament to how you tell a story. So now, obviously, Lasseter is in charge of almost all things Disney.
Right.
So to me, it's like this amazing, like
perfect.
Oh God! I mean, it's just, you know, the drama and the irony and everything.
And also a great example of what doesn't kill you, because they really dealt him such a devastating blow that, as you said, after putting his whole life into it, the average bear might have folded up the briefcase and but
he's such a genius, and I don't disagree. I think what he brought to Tangled was great classic Disney storytelling.
Yes, yes. I want to take a moment now, if we may. Let's see. Yeah. You know what? Can you roll the Fabulous GoDaddy? Let me just have some fun with that for a second. And then we're going to go to your fans via Twitter who're writing in incredible questions and tweet fives. But first, let me take care of some business. Oh, while I'm doing this, J-Mac, can you go out to the fridge? There's a Frosty. Is that right, Jamie? It's out in the fridge, out in the...
Oh, are we talking about my beer?
Yeah.
We get beer here.
Yeah. Yeah. We're thinking about putting in a tap. But everyone likes a different brand.
No, continue.
Exactly. GoDaddy.com, a new sponsor of the show. You need a website? Everyone needs a website for your family or your business or your crazy hobbies. If you are going to get online, which you should, come on, people. The place to go to is GoDaddy.com. It's easy, it's affordable, it's in the transition. It's a name you know and trust. Come on. Did you know? Hey, we got another one over here. Zach Levi is the man.com. It's available right now. KevinPollockStinks.com, by the way, I looked up. They had a couple suggestions for me. And I said, no, let's go there. And I went to their site. It's so damn easy. Just type in whatever domain name you want to create and see it's available. Sure enough, KevinPollockStinks.com is available. Enjoy. I can't believe either one of those weren't available. Anyways, they have email, online storage, tons of stuff you need. Just enter this code to get 10% off when you go to GoDaddy.com. Kevin10, Kevin10 to get 10% off at GoDaddy.com from your next order. Real simple. Please go. Check it out. If you're on your way there, go to our site, KevinPollockChatShow.com, and click on through. There's a little banner for you on your way to GoDaddy.com to get your 10% off. Thank you, GoDaddy.com, for being a wonderful sponsor of this show. There's your banner right there on the screen. All right, as the tasty beverage is flowing in, we have a little thing on the show we call Tweet 5. It's T5, oh, look, there's Dave Keckner.
T5 forever now.
Everyone's favorite tune. Yeah, that's him, and we can't get enough. I know. And by the way, he was here during the Tweet 5, so when I got to the second one, he just did that.
He just did that.
And we just clipped it and made it the thing.
That's good. You're paying him royalties on that.
Come on in, here.
Oh, my. You really did get a 40, didn't you?
Cut to camera
Oh, I don't
one.
even need a glass. I'll just take the bottle.
Go to camera 1.
Where am I going? Just the bottle?
Yeah, go around
just the
that
bottle.
Way. Go around that way. Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice, perfect.
That happened.
Another sponsor. We got you the largest bottle we could.
What are you trying to say, Kevin?
Hey! How dry?
Oh. I always do that, and nobody knows what I'm singing.
Right?
Because that's like from back in the day.
That also seems like it was a cartoon. That
It was.
Andy Capp, was it?
How dry I am?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just remember that from like old Warner Brothers or Tex Avery cartoons. Like, that's all. Yeah.
Do you remember the one with the drunken music notes? Do you remember that one? Oh,
yes.
That was a great one, too.
That was a Warner Brothers.
Childhood.
All right, these are specifically...
We saw that whenever we saw Bugs Bunny at the Symphony.
Yeah.
At the Hollywood Bowl, they did that.
Hollywood
Bowl.
Oh, I'm so excited. Oh, I'm so excited.
Have you been to
my
the
God.
Looney Tunes at Hollywood Bowl, by the way?
I've not.
is
I've
an
heard it's
amazing
fantastic.
thing. Yes.
I've heard it's fantastic.
All right, this Tweet 5 from your
my
fans
cup overfloweth.
comes from the Twitterverse at WellAware1.
At WellAware1.
And now these are Coke or Pepsi, no correct answer, rapid fire, 5 questions designed just for you. Ready?
Oh, jeez. Rapid fire.
Subway
Okay.
versus Chuck E. Cheese.
What? Chuck E. Cheese.
Nice. Ryan Adams versus Brian Adams.
Oh, wow. Brian Adams. I know that's a horrible answer.
Bond.
I love you, Ryan.
Or Bourne. See, a little Sophie's Choice happening.
tough.
I know, right?
Oh, these are tough. Bond.
Simon or Theodore.
Simon.
And lastly, Disney, I guess they mean ABC, or NBC. See? I think
I'm going to
they-
say NBC,
Nice.
and I know that's a losing battle right now, but I do really think that. I mean, their Thursday night comedy lineup is great.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you guys aren't watching Community and Parks and Rec and 30 Rock, which clearly you're not, according to numbers, some of you are. I'm sure many people are, but
Not enough.
not enough. And it's so good.
It's
so
shocking.
good. And The Office, I think, still has so many great gems in it. But I think that might be their last season. I don't know. Television, I think we talked about this at March, though. Television is we're transitioning. It's the Wild West. We're not going to have network television the way we have it anymore. And I think that'll be a good thing in a lot of ways. You know,
Right.
you'll just have your new smart TV, and instead of channels, it'll be a ton of apps, and everyone will have their little app, and ABC will have their app, and you'll go and you'll talk to your TV, and you'll say ABC, and it'll pop up, and then all the programming that they make, and you buy each show for 99 cents or whatever the heck you buy it for.
Or a
you know?
subscription.
Or subscription
For the
model, or
season,
whatever. It's technology. You can't stop the bum rush. I mean, it's going to keep happening, and you just got to embrace it and be like, all right, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, I was just meeting up with the Muckety Mucks over at the Netflix at the NAB in Vegas earlier in the week, and you talk about planting a flag. You know, when they outbid HBO and Showtime for the David Fincher and Kevin Spacey series, and by committing to it 2 seasons, I mean, that was...
Yeah, that's huge.
I mean, you think HBO maybe took 17 years to plant that flag?
Yeah.
Well,
by the way, it may not pay off either.
No.
I mean, you know, Netflix is kind of in some turmoil right now with all of their licensing, with the studios and the movies that are bringing people there anyway. But it might be exactly what they needed to do in order to just say, okay, you know what, maybe we're not going to be the source of every movie in the world, but we will have original content and your subscription will still mean something.
And bringing back Arrested Development, oh my God.
Genius, which should have happened a long time ago, but I guess it's happening in exactly the time that it should have happened.
Right.
And you know, all the episodes, from what I heard, they're all going to be available at the same time.
Yes.
Which I think is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, all right, if you want to eat it all in one sitting, great. If you want to break it up a couple days at a time.
Which, if you find a show on used to be, back in the old days, DVD. I mean, that's how crazy it is. Now you go to a site, you know, we watched, I think we were catching up the first season of Mad Men. We watched on DVD, right?
Yeah.
And Downton Abbey, we watched the first 6 episodes live streaming on Netflix.
Yeah.
And that's how we got caught up with that.
You can Netflix. I'm Netflix on my Xbox. HBO Go. You know, like I watched the first season of Game of Thrones on my iPad.
Yeah.
Which is so good. Are you watching that?
Oh, yes.
This season.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Can't even take it.
Well, yeah, I can't. Let's go back to one of your fans here, if we may.
Yes, please.
At James T. Gilbert, again coming from the Twitter.
Hello, James.
The Tweed 5.
T5.
Thank you, Keckner.
T5.
I love him. Acting or directing?
As of right now, acting.
Video games or Monopoly?
Video games.
Toyota Matrix, Nissan GTR?
Nissan GTR.
Zombies, Frankenstein?
Oh, zombies.
Oscars, Long Beach Grand Prix? These people know you, don't they?
Yeah, they do. He's on it. I'm going to say Oscars as far as, just as the magnitude of the moment. But racing in the Long Beach Grand Prix. Have you ever done that, by the way?
Tell me more. I want to hear about your experience doing it.
It's so much fun. Do you like cars? Do you like racing?
Yeah, I'm fascinated by it, but I haven't done it. So,
I mean, if you like the idea of racing, if you like the idea of competitive, you don't get something like that really anywhere, because normally, even with like amateur races and stuff like that, you're not wheel to wheel.
Right.
It's all about just lap time.
Right.
But you're wheel to wheel racing. I'm next to Adam Carolla, and I'm like, all right, here we go, buddy. Or Adrian Brody. Was that who was in the race with me? Adrian Brody. Yeah. There's wrecks. There's cars hitting each other. Rubbing is racing. I mean, you're in Scions, so it's not like you're doing like 200 miles an hour. But on the long stretch, you get up to about 100.
40? Sorry.
Well, but it's a technical course too. So it's not a one big oval. You're making lefts, you're making rights, you're making like hairpin chicanes. I mean,
what kind of training before you get into the race?
You go up to Willow Springs, and a big course up there.
How much time is
Danny McKeever, who and his team train everybody. They're awesome. You get it depends. You can either break it up over 2 weekends, or you can do one long weekend, which I think I did. And it's awesome, and you're all in the camaraderie too. Like you're there with a bunch of other celebs or whatever,
sure.
And you're all just hanging out. And you're talking about life and racing, and that was a lot of fun. It was like a weird summer camp.
Sure.
One weird weekend of a summer camp, and just when seeing how people progress in their racing skills. People have never really raced a car or really driven that hard or understand the technicalities of how to take a corner or whatever.
Right. Or people like me who have to constantly say to their better half, I'm not going to kill us.
Are you really concerned that he's going to kill you all the time?
While texting and driving? Is that what you're talking about?
He doesn't do that. That's illegal.
That's
against the law. Used to be when you came to a stoplight and the light is red, and you're stopped, and there's a car in front of you, and the light turns green. It used to be when that car in front of you didn't move, it was because that person was stupid. Now, that person is riding. It's riding someone.
They're riding someone.
Yeah.
A novel, even, perchance.
Uh-huh. And the Oscars, let's go there. What was that? Crazy, weird, fantastic.
All of the above, yeah. And the most nerve-wracking experience of my life.
Well, that's the part I wanted to talk about because, if you've been performing all your life, like according to your dossier, you have for the most part.
I like that you threw out dossier.
You've been in front of an audience. You live for those moments. If you're anything like me, there's a sense of excitement as opposed to nerves.
Sure.
That you're excited to start the show.
Sure.
And you've sort of lost that feeling of nervousness because you're either rehearsed to the point of confidence or what have you.
Right.
Or if you've got a camera, there's multiple takes. You don't have to be nervous. There are very few things that actually are live that can scare the shit out of you.
Yeah.
I last year did my first time at Carnegie Hall doing a live 120th anniversary of Carnegie Hall. It was a big tribute night, and I did a little tribute to Lenny Bruce. And I'm backstage, and I'm about to go on, and I'm realizing I'm going to go on stage the first time at Carnegie Hall. Not nervous. I'm about to perform a piece that I've never performed in front of an audience ever on stage at Carnegie Hall for the first time. Now I'm nervous.
Yeah.
So what was the thing at the Oscars? Was there one thing, a realization other than the obvious, which is there's a billion people watching?
Yeah, well, fortunately, that hadn't dawned on me.
Good.
I knew a lot of people were watching.
Not the big B number?
Not the big B. Nobody had told me the big B, which I was really grateful about afterwards. No, I think part of it is that I've been, as far as live performance is concerned, like I grew up doing
theater,
copious amounts of theater.
Right.
Love it. Hope to get back to it at some point. Was almost going to go and do a show on Broadway, and then it didn't work out. But
Jack Nicholson rarely sitting in the front row when you were doing theater like he is at the
Jack
Oscars.
wasn't there that year.
Okay, but
I was really bummed.
But,
I was
okay,
like, well,
then Brad Pitt and George Clooney. You understand what I'm saying?
Whomever. Halle Berry.
Slightly different audience.
So I, as far as like being like in the routine of doing live performance,
right.
Not really. I hadn't been doing that consistently for a while. Little, charity benefits here and there. So that was part of it. And then there's one part in the song that's like the top of my register. So when you're in a recording studio, you got a couple goes at it. If you don't quite hit it, you can get it on another one.
Zach, we're going to go again. Can I be honest? You don't have to get that high. Okay.
All right. Okay. Good. All right. Is it on both ears or just the one? So there was a little bit of that, right? But it was mainly most people don't know or didn't know at that point that I sang, unless they had seen me sing at a benefit concert or
right.
which I had only done like 3.
However you're known is the comfort zone for people.
Exactly.
And when you step outside of it.
Exactly. Because people will give you that grace. They will be like, oh no, I've heard him sing before and he's great. So even if you do, there's a note that's not quite there, it's like, he's on the stage, it's the Oscars, exactly. But if you're all of a sudden coming out there and like, this bozo? Because that's what...
Why is Chuck singing?
Yeah, exactly. Why is Chuck singing? That's really what people, if they even know the show, why is dude who looks like John Krasinski kind of up there on the... Is that John Krasinski? I don't... that's a running joke with me and my friends. I love John Krasinski. Anyway, the point is, so I was nervous leading up to it. We rehearsed it. Like 3 days in a row, you're kind of like just getting to know the stage and everything, then like your tech, your dress. That morning, even before the Oscars, one more rehearsal. And by the end of all those rehearsals, I felt really good.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, you know what? We can do this. I feel good about it.
Comfortable in the venue?
I'm hitting my notes. I'm comfortable in the venue. I know my spot. I know where I'm going. I know what I'm doing. All right, I'm good. That day, walking the red carpet and talking to the folks and doing the interviews, nothing was really boiling up in me. And then I'm in the wings. Kevin Spacey, who was introducing our categories, or rather the two this section of performers. So he introduced Randy Newman, and Randy Newman comes out and he does this, whatever the Toy Story song it was at the time, which was very good, and he won actually. And Randy finishes, and from the rehearsals I know how it goes, and so. he's done. They're getting the piano off stage. Kevin comes back out and goes, now from the movie Tangled, please welcome Mandy Moore and Zachary. And as soon as he started introing us, my heart was, I felt like I was having a heart attack. I felt like my heart, it was just gonna, I was freaking out.
It was real.
It was just beating so fast, so hard. And all I could think about was, there's no going back. I can't.
There's no wait a second, guys.
I can't talk to. There's no wait a second. It is going. This train is going right now.
And you're it.
And I'm it. I'm on the train.
You actually are the train.
And Mandy's out first. So it's not like even if we were together, if I were to say like, okay, just like a downbeat. Just let me take a downbeat here before we walk. Mandy's walking out. So the music's going. The click is going. I'm like, oh God, here we go. And I just like, you just like kind of go into like autopilot, and I'm just looking at Mandy, singing, looking at Mandy. Now we turn out, look at the audience. Don't look at Halle Berry. Look at the audience. Just look out into the blinding lights so you can't really see anybody. And don't screw this song up. So many potential employers are sitting in this audience or watching at home. And then we got through it, and I felt good about it.
It went great.
I felt good about it,
Yeah.
but it wasn't until later, because I don't know. Maybe you get this way. I don't know if you do, but I'm kind of a glasses half empty. Oftentimes, if I'm
About a performance?
if you don't feel 100% that you knocked it out of the park, it might as well have been a dribbling, like, thrown out at first. Like, I either need to feel like that was a grand slam, or I'm going to second guess it all night long until I can maybe watch it later and be like, oh, actually, that wasn't that bad. That was a solid double. That was a whatever, Me and my baseball metaphors.
Nice.
It was a field goal. See, Kevin? And so I watched it later, and I was like, oh, actually, that was okay. That was good. That was good.
Yeah. There's no way to be objective when you're in it. There's no way.
Well, sometimes. No, come on.
Not that
Now, you know when you're killing an audience.
Well,
you know when you're on a stage.
But that's based on immediate reaction.
Yeah.
They sat comfortably until you were finished and then applauded.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reaction while you're. So when I'm on stage
True.
and someone comes to the late show, right?
Right.
I've already got the reaction of the early show in my mind from the moments during the hour.
Right.
To compare, oh, this one was better, that was better.
Right.
So you're doing that
Yeah.
number. So
Yeah.
I certainly know what you mean about judging it as it's happening. You're able to,
Right.
but for me, only when there's that immediate
Yeah.
feedback. Like you do in a play, same thing.
Yeah, true.
So when you're
but
singing
even,
a song, how do you?
Because, sometimes, even based on the song and how, if you killed it, people really go...
They go crazy.
Ape shit. They're like, yeah! Like
Danny
that,
DeVito stops eating the carrots in the front row for a moment. Remember that year where Danny was caught eating carrots at the Academy
Was he
Awards?
really?
Well, he was smart.
Well,
he brought food in 6 hours.
by the way, in beta carotene, eyesight.
Right.
Right. But I don't know. But also at the Oscar, everybody's a little more reserved, I guess. Nobody wants to be that, fool in the front row being like, yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, check out these guys. Well, they're, people polite. I get it, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But regardless, it was one of the most nerve-wracking and yet one of the most fulfilling experiences of my life. And one that I never even would have put on a bucket list because I never, as a singer, you think, oh, I want to sing on Broadway, on a stage. Like that's kind of the ultimate.
Right.
And as an actor, maybe win an Academy Award. Like you want to be at the Academy Awards winning or being nominated or winning an Oscar. But I've never thought, oh, you know what I really want to do is I want to sing at the Academy Awards for a song that was nominated. Like I never would have even thought of that.
Right.
And yet I got to do that and really, and sing an Alan Menken tune. And again, going back to Disney and like how incredibly influential Alan Menken has been on so many films from Little Mermaid to Beauty and the Beast to Aladdin, which is probably my favorite.
We just saw the live show a couple weeks ago.
Of Aladdin?
When her family was in town, yeah.
Wait, there's a live show in L.A.?
Disneyland, yeah.
No,
the live show at Disneyland.
Yeah, the
Aladdin.
California Adventure.
Oh, yeah. I still haven't seen that. Is that good?
It's quite good.
decent.
Okay, good. Yeah. It's coming to Broadway. They're doing Aladdin on Broadway. And apparently there's songs that were originally in the movie that never made the movie that will
Who might be good for that?
For me?
Yeah.
To play Aladdin? Oh, I don't. Maybe.
You'd have to be shirtless.
Well, all right.
Now we're getting
Go back to that
into-
chest hair. So I don't know. I mean, it was.
It never crossed your mind.
No.
Well, you mentioned
it's a niche.
the Broadway thing. All your fans want to know I want you to talk about the Frankenstein versus Chuck moment in time. Did you ever see the play? Did you ever see the
I did see the play.
Okay,
I
so
did see the
you
play.
know the same thing we know, which is you're better off. It didn't work.
It didn't work, but look.
Still,
okay,
it's Mel Brooks. It's everything else.
Yeah, it was all those things. Okay,
Megan
how do
Mullally,
I make this?
right?
How do I show what?
Wasn't it Megan Mullally?
Megan Mullally, Megan Mullally, Roger Bart, Sutton Foster.
No. But there was a moment in time for you when that was something.
Yeah, we hadn't even shot the pilot for Chuck yet. I had gotten cast in it.
You're right.
There was still a little bit of time before we shot it. I think this is how it went. And then my agency called, knowing that I had grown up doing musical theater and stuff, and knowing that I would like to do it at some point. They said, "Hey, Mel Brooks is doing Young Frankenstein, the musical, on Broadway. Would you like to fly yourself out there and audition? He's seeing people." And I had never auditioned for Broadway, mind you. This was the first Broadway audition I had ever done. I had met some casting directors out there, but I had never auditioned. And I was like, well, as pilots go, your chance of getting picked up is slim to none, oftentimes.
80% fail.
Yeah. So I said, might as well hedge my bets and might as well go out and try this. I mean, it's Mel Brooks, and I came to find out Susan Stroman, who is an incredible director. Yeah, why not? I'll fly out to New York. So. And really, my thought in it was, I just want to go and make a good impression.
Right.
I want to try and maybe, just so that later for the next project or whatever, the casting director or Susan or Mel or anybody goes, that Zach kid, he wasn't bad. Let's bring him in for something. Because I knew who I was going up against. It was like some heavy-hitting dudes who were either Broadway stars or other Hollywood stars who had done Broadway.
Right.
So I go out and... there was maybe the first bit. It was 2 songs and 3 scenes, and one of them was a scene into a song, and it was the scene. And I love the movie, and Gene Wilder is a damn genius.
Yes.
I mean, anyone who argues that is a fool. Not that anybody does, so I guess there's not many fools in that regard. But anyway, so it was the scene where the monster's coming to life, and he's before he says, no matter what I do, no matter what I say, do not open this door. And then, he gets another, open the door!
What's the matter with you idiots? There's an owner kidding? Yeah.
It's so good.
It's so great.
So it's that scene into a song where he's trying to coax the monster and say, I think you probably remember the song, and it's a great tune. And so I'm in the scene, and I'm going up on some of the lines in the scene, but instead of what I normally do is be like, oh, can we go back? I just plowed through. I was like, line, right, and then I just kept going, and because I really genuinely didn't think I had any chance of getting the job. I just wanted to get through it as fast as I could, and then here comes a musical cue, and here comes the song, and I was so nervous. I was beyond, I say that the Oscars was the most nerve-wracking experience of my life. It didn't affect me physically in the same way. Can I stand?
Sure.
We
can't follow you, but you can stand.
So I was, never mind, doesn't matter. But the point is, so I'm singing this song, and it's the first time it ever happened to me. My legs started shaking uncontrollably. It's like my knee was giving out, and it was wiggling back and forth. And I knew that my leg was wiggling, and I knew that they were looking at me singing the song. So I was like, what do I do? What do I do? So I just start stomping it in time with the music so they can't see my legs shaking. And I get through the song, bang, the whole thing. And I'm literally ready for them to go, thanks very much. And, the cue to get the hell out of our space.
Instead, Mel says, I love the stomping. Why isn't that in the...
So they're like, okay, all right. And there's a little bit of some notage kind of, and we tried it again, and we did the next thing. And anyway, I left there thinking C+, B-. I was like, I felt like I sounded good, and I felt like I did some fun, good things with the scenes.
Right.
But that was it. I'm walking away from this place. While I'm going back to the airport, I'm out on the street. I've just left, and I get a call from my agent saying, "Hey, can you stay another day because they want you to come back in for a callback tomorrow?" And I'm blown away. I'm like, I don't know. I can't believe that even happened. And I come in that next day, and it was a really just super fun work session. Really,
less shaking with the knee.
No shaking at all. Mel was smiles and really, and we were, and when Mel Brooks, and he's giving you notes, and he's really try it, bring it like this, and I have to do a horrible Mel Brooks, and And it was really fun. It was very like, when you work with a director and it's like you're really just throwing ideas and you're like, yeah, try it like this. There's no wrong answer. It's just trying. I mean, there are wrong answers. But,
experimenting with Mel Brooks.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it was in that role, in that Gene Wilder that he already did. I mean, it's just. Long story short, I do one more callback about a week later, and it went well. I still didn't. I was like, I don't know, and I go back home, and I get a call, and it's, you're our guy. We want you to be our guy. But we said, well, look, we haven't even shot the pilot for Chuck yet. We still got to do that. And then we got to find out. And they said, okay, we'll wait. And they waited. They waited months.
Yeah.
And
because you probably shoot March, April, and find out in May.
Exactly. And Chuck got picked up, and I couldn't do it. And Mel was, from what I heard, a little apoplectic about it. Sure. But I understand. You don't want to keep Mel waiting like that just for it to not work out.
But you got to know when you say yes, I'll wait. That. There's a 50-50.
Yeah. But then I had run into Kristen Chenoweth, who was doing Pushing Daisies. They shot right next to us at Warner Brothers when I was doing Chuck. And she made an interesting comment, because she was supposed to do it as well. She had workshopped the whole thing, and she had pulled me aside one day and she said, I think that Chuck worked out good for you before the show had even opened. And I said, why? And she said, well, it's going to be a tough show because there's almost no right way to do it.
Yeah.
People love the movie so much.
And the movie's funny for not such obvious reasons. In other words, it's a performance funny, not just a written scene funny. Mm-hmm. You mentioned Gene Wilder, and as funny as Kenneth Mars and Madeline Kahn and of course Marty Feldman and everybody is, my God. Gene Wilder.
Tour de force.
Yeah.
And everything he did.
Yeah.
And everything.
Well, yes. But, so, in watching the show, my feeling was, this isn't, was it Roger who ended up?
Roger Barr, yeah.
So I said, this isn't Roger's fault. No one can do it.
That's the thing. It was nobody's fault.
Yeah.
It was a premise. I think it was a world that when you do the producers, by the way, I think this is why Mel, and I understand why he was like, well, look, I've successfully done it with one of my projects. I can do it with another one that's beloved.
Yes.
Why wouldn't people want to see Young Frankenstein?
More beloved.
Than
the producers.
Way more beloved.
Yeah.
But that's why. The producers was a more kind of niche, nobody. Like, I didn't know the producers like I knew Young Frankenstein or like I knew Blazing Saddles or Spaceballs or whatever.
Producers is better musical.
And by the way, and it's also inside Broadway. It's about Broadway. So it's kind of a little bit of an inside deal.
Good point.
Young Frankenstein was so beloved that, and this is what Kristen was saying, she was like, when we were workshopping it, if you do it like the movie, people they see every joke coming around the corner, and it's not as funny. So if you go, okay, well, we'll do our own thing, they reject it because it's not the movie.
Right.
So you're kind of damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. And I think that's ultimately what happened in that.
But the Gene Wilder thing, if I may, it was more iconic as a performance. So ultimately, one of the things I meant by it wasn't Roger's fault. I was feeling like whoever does this is fucked.
I would have killed.
No, you know what? You would have made it your own. You would have made it your own.
Nobody would have. They would have been like, who's this guy?
Reviews would have been, I stopped thinking about Gene Wilder after 14 minutes. We have someone on the Skype. We're going to attempt, if he's still there, to bring in Sam Levine, who couldn't be here in the studio. News came down, as it were, that he's on Skype from Hotlanta. Is that true? Can you hear us? Are you there? Okay, good. Not yet.
Not yet.
That's exciting. They just typed out "not yet" on the screen. What?
What's going on?
Oh, he's there.
Sammy.
We have Sam.
Where are you?
We don't see Sam, but we have Sam.
He's coming.
This is an amazing episode. It breaks my heart that I can't be there.
Oh, good. Are you drunk or just a bad connection?
Both.
Yeah. All right, well, Jamie predicted that because of Skype and the terrible connection there in the hotel room, this was probably not going to work. and so here, let's just jump in and see how we do. Sammy, go ahead.
Okay, well, do we roll the intro?
Yeah, let's roll the intro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the crew is like, really? We just set up the Skype, now you want us to do this?
Mm-hmm.
Celebrity celebrities have so much to say.
Who tweeted?
Is the game we're gonna play.
All right, Sammy. What do you
Hey,
got
it
for
looks
us?
good on my connection for the record. Okay, here we go. Who tweeted? I will read a series of 8 tweets as soon as you figure out.
Oh, wow.
You are beside yourself. This is not working. Well, is it?
No, it's terrible.
No, it's funny though. It does. It sounds almost like Romanian.
Yes,
it's
actually,
kind of a just.
If I had said Sam's on the space shuttle, then it would make sense how bad this connection is. Sam is actually doing a little exploration on Mars, and they've got. By the way, the space shuttle, it's like a hotel room now.
Yeah.
But you don't want to make the bed behind you.
It's a very classy space shuttle.
You didn't have time to make the bed, by the way.
No, maid took a day off. Literally.
Sammy, Jamie, poor thing, so knew this was a horrible idea.
Excuse me?
Yeah, she was right.
Yes. She's
What
not,
was that?
She's not going to throw it in my face, but say a complete sentence and we'll see how bad it is.
All right. Let's just try one little tweet here.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll explain the
I
game
have the-
then, real quick, if that's okay.
I think we're better off having you explain it.
Yeah.
No offense, Sam.
I'm going to explain the game. You read the tweet, Sammy. Okay, so
That sounds good.
he's going to read a tweet, and it's either been authored by Tyra Banks, Paris Hilton, or Justin Bieber. So he's going to read the tweet, and then we're going to ring in by saying our names instead of buzz. You'll say your name, I'll say mine.
Okay.
And then once you ring in, you'll have 3 seconds to say if you think it was written by Paris, Tyra,
Or Justin Bieber.
or Bieber.
Okay.
Those are the rules.
I
And
cannot wait.
Sammy will read the tweet. If you get the answer correct, you get 5 points.
I have now drank half of this 40.
By the way,
Just want everybody to understand, in case you have not been watching, I can drink.
just to take a little pressure off yourself, it was only a 20.
Well, that's not too bad then.
Yeah.
I don't feel so. Oh, it's a pint.
Yeah.
It's a pint.
Relax. All right, Sammy,
have known better.
tweet number 1.
Tweet number 1. I have the most fun at the music festivals when I dance in the crowd. The energy is indescribable.
Kevin Paris.
That is correct.
Okay.
Oh, really? I would have gone with Tyra.
Well-
that sounded far too eloquent for Paris.
These are surprising. We try not to make them obvious.
Oh, okay.
Also,
Oh,
if-
we try not to, meaning you already know the answers. That's great.
No, I
Thanks for the rigged game, guys.
Jamie.
Jeez Louise.
I do.
Yeah, she,
I do them.
yeah, she. Now, if we get an answer incorrect, by the way, I forgot to mention, you get minus 3 points.
Oh,
so there's a
geez.
penalty for being incorrect.
Oh, okay.
All right, Sammy, tweet
Minus
number 2.
3 points.
Yeah,
You still
minus
get
3.
Tweet number 2. Thank God Madagascar 3 is coming out. Just didn't get the closure I needed with
Zach,
the
Justin.
first 2. That's correct.
Nice!
Because that was him being funny. That was him being funny. Yeah. He's a funny guy.
And you know this about him.
A little.
I
That he's
can't wait to
capable of
see
being
this
funny.
on
Capable of being
iTunes.
funny, yes.
Yeah. Tweet number 3.
Tweet number 3. Getting my green thumb gardening skills at Twig Terrarium.
Zach Tyra.
That is correct.
Wow, totally kicking ass. We're 3 for 3.
I mean-
well, he's 2 for 2. I'm 1 for
Right.
1. All right.
Still collectively.
Nice.
I mean,
This doesn't always happen, by the way. It's usually 0 for 3. All right, Sammy, tweet number 4.
Tweet number 4. Less cantaloupe, more berries. I'm talking to you, prepackaged fruit salads. Don't play me like that.
Zach Tyra.
Oh, sorry, no.
Finally.
It's your boyfriend, Justin Bieber.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
I wouldn't have guessed that either.
Ever.
7 to 5. Tweet number 5.
Tweet number 5. Had fun shopping at Kitson, one of my favorite
Kevin
stores
Paris.
in LA. I'm sorry?
Kevin Paris.
That is correct.
Son of a.
All right.
It's a close game, fellas. It's a
Didn't
very
we
close
see her
game.
once at Kitson? No.
Well, that's no fair. You have personal experience. I mean,
I just know the Kitson line. And then I thought, well, you're wrong because you're never obvious. All right. Tweet number
All right.
6.
Number 6. Just saw Cabin in the Woods. One of the most genius movies I've seen in a long time.
Who's the
Very unique.
Who's the stupidest of
At
the 3?
Franz Kranz stole the show. Hashtag hilarious?
I'm going to say Oh gosh, I mean, it actually is a pretty interesting movie.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say Zach Justin.
Ooh, sorry, no.
Yeah.
Paris. Paris.
See, I didn't think Justin knew Fran. Fran's a really funny actor, by the way. Fran Kranz.
Oh, yeah?
Talented guy.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, so I'm clearly losing. Is there any way I can even do this?
Yes. What number are we
Yes,
on?
there's absolutely ways. Tweet number 7.
Oh, the last one's worth 10 points also.
Oh, okay.
Stop taking Viagra and call your doctor right away.
Kevin Paris.
No! What's the matter with you?
So much judgment. Jeez, Sam.
All right.
Bieber.
That was Bieber. Of course he's going to talk about Viagra.
fellas.
He's 17.
It's 7-4 right now. With Kevin in the lead, we got one tweet to go. Zach, you win. Ring in, you get it right, you win. Kevin, you ring in, you get it wrong. We have a tie.
Ah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Hello.
Oh, well, what's the tiebreaker? Nude wrestling.
I'll ask one final question.
Yes, let's hope. It was last week. Just saying.
All right. Tweet number 8. Remember, fam, it's okay to be vulnerable. Things don't always have to be perfect.
Say it one more time.
Remember, fam, it's okay to be vulnerable.
Fam?
Things don't always have to be perfect.
Zach Tyra.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner!
Oh, nice!
Come on!
You went with family.
Who says fam? Tyra Banks says
Nice. Sammy, thank you so much from Hotlanta.
My pleasure.
Sam
Levine,
Levine,
everybody. Sam Levine.
Skyped in from the service of Mars.
Miss you, buddy.
See you, buddy.
Thanks, Sammy.
Thanks, guys.
Good egg.
144 shows. That's the first time we attempted to Skype, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah.
I feel honored.
Well, I'm just saying.
I like technology. We talked about this.
Let's talk about
have so much to say.
who tweeted.
It's the game that we just played.
Another fun game, by the way. You can play with your friends. Helps to be slightly intoxicated. Let's talk about the Nerd Machine. Since you love all things tech, let's go there.
Let's do that. What do you want to know?
What's the genesis and where are we at?
Well, Genesis was essentially, I mean, I grew up a nerdy kid. I mean, in like kind of the modern sense of that, or at least the way that people kind of stereotype it, right?
To the point where
Not-
Chuck
not
is
like-
not a complete stretch.
No, not at all. I mean, there was so much of Chuck that was me. When it came to video games, comic books, technology, like I'm very much that guy. I couldn't fix a hard drive to save my life, but I have a lot of people that come to me with like layman questions about technology, and I can help them navigate their iPhones or laptops, in certain ways. Although I have friends that I like super lean on to help me with my stuff, because when it comes to some things that happen with your laptop or what, you're like, I honestly have no idea, and I don't want to break the thing. I don't want to go farther down the rabbit hole with making this worse. But like video games, I've been playing since I came out of the womb. Comic books I really was into in like elementary to middle school, and then kind of weaned myself off of, but have gotten back into in the last 5 years through graphic novels and stuff. Because I just think, I mean, it's a book with pictures. Why not?
Yeah.
And there's some great stories. I would highly recommend Why the Last Man and Fear Agents. Those are two of my faves.
Because of great storytelling?
I just think really fun, great storytelling. I can talk about those later if we have the time. But anyway, so it's been me. That's been my, and I was always in drama. Like I was a theater nerd. Like that's what I did. I wasn't really like horn rim glasses and pocket protector, but definitely a nerd in my own right. And then playing Chuck, it really opened me up to, exposed me to this incredible demographic of people.
Yeah. There's a connection
were
there that's extraordinary.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And going to Comic-Con 5 years in a row and seeing the love and support and passion that they will give to that which they love.
I was just picturing you walking the floor. It must be like with the Technicolor coat. It must just be ridiculous.
Hey, Joseph, you know what they say.
Do they go crazy?
Yeah, no. Well, no. Well, here's the thing. I don't really walk the floor.
You can't.
I've wanted to go. I haven't really had the time while I've been down there. It's kind of crazy.
But you must have had people tell you shouldn't walk the floor.
Yeah, in the moments where we have to cut through the floor and get somewhere, point A to point B, it can be a little much sometimes.
Right.
But I'm also the kind of person that I don't know. Like, I feel like that's why we're there. We're there to be there for the fans. We're there to give them an experience and take a picture with them or sign something for them. You know, it can get a little crazy, and that's when you just have to have a little organization to it, if you can. But anyway, the point is, they're just, I find, to be incredible people who also are very supportive of each other. You know, like, you don't, with the exception of a couple years ago when one nerd stabbed another one with a mechanical pencil over a seat at the, what panel was it? I can't remember what panel it was, but it was like in Hall H, like the big one. And, you know, and people wait for hours and hours and hours and sleep overnight. And they were fighting over a chair. And one of them is like, that's my chair, that's my, you know, boom, and just like literally stabs him, which is crazy. Yeah. So crazy. But they're really lovely and loving, and there's no judgment. It's like, you know, it must be like Burning Man for nerds. It's, you know, it's,
they're living in a time. They're living in a time where the meek shall inherit the earth.
Absolutely, and in a time when you can get a really kick-ass costume. You know, like people are making really like intricate. Their cosplay is insane. And where stormtroopers and the Rebel Alliance can live side by side,
all right, yeah,
not have to shoot each other.
They can have sex.
They can have, if they want to.
Technically.
Wookiees and Ewoks alike.
There's hotel rooms.
There's hotel rooms. A lot of them.
You don't have to be a furry to see.
No. Oh, God.
To have
that's a whole other world.
Wookiees going at it.
So anyway, so all that, and then and partly, you know, in my kind of, you know, mad scientist brain of looking at things in life and wanting them to be better.
Right.
I'm sure you do the same thing. There are certain things you go, why doesn't this pen work in the way that it should work? And I think a lot of people do this. You look at things and you want it, and you have an idea, and you go, if it just had this, if it just did this, well, we all do that. So I wanted to literally, when it came to like video games, like I want to be able to have a controller, an Xbox controller for say, that's got essentially like a little cradle where I can take my iPhone, I can just click it in there, in you know landscape, and all of a sudden it's just acting as my monitor, and it's also got a giant, you know, it's got a pretty big hard drive on it, plus this cradle could have a hard drive on it, and I could play Gears of War or Modern Warfare or a plethora of other games, and it's all portable, it's all on the go, because all the games that you play on your iPhone or iPad, they're great for Angry Birds. They're great for and this is my opinion, for simple one-touch kind of things.
Fruit Ninja,
whatever, yeah. Solitaire, backgammon. But if you are a hardcore gamer, if you really want to play like a first-person shooter or an adventure game or something like that requires dual analog sticks that every gamer is now very used to in the last 10 years especially, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah.
They do these simulated ones on the screen, but if your finger goes a little too far, the simulated stick resets itself, and now your guy's not looking in the right place. And plus, on an iPad, you got a bigger screen, but on an iPhone, your thumbs are covering half the damn screen. Right. So I'm like, that's ridiculous. Why isn't there some kind of interface where I can just use it? So those kinds of ideas, how to play games better, more efficiently, more fun, how to interact with your content, making new content that is very nerd-related.
That's what you're
starting a brand
right.
that was for nerds by nerds. Because if you're an athlete, you've got Reebok, Nike, Adidas, all those. If you're an extreme sports athlete, you got Quicksilver, Rip Curl, Volcom, all those guys. That's great. But if your thing is not so much basketball or snowboarding, and you really like video games and comic books, you can go get a quirky, ironic T-shirt off of Cafe Press, but there's no real brand where you can go, that's me. I want that. I want to go wear a shirt that says nerd on it and be proud of that.
Right.
So that kind of was a lot of the different things that led into this is what I want to do. And I started a company with my partner, Dave Coleman, who has been one of my best friends for years. I was best man in his wedding. He had an apparel company, so he had a lot of expertise in that world.
You guys became business partners for this venture?
For this particular venture, yeah. And also he's helped me produce. I've done, some content, some short films and stuff. He's produced that. He's a great producer. He's a great man. And he's also a nerd as well. Like he loves video games and comic books and technology. That's what I'm probably most nerdy about. And also one of the things we're trying to do with the site is reprogram people's, vernacular when it comes to what is a nerd? To me, a nerd is just somebody to be a nerd means you are passionate. You can be nerdy about beer. You can be nerdy about cars. You can be nerdy about basketball. You can be nerdy about snowboarding. You're an incredible athlete, snowboarder. that's super passionate about it, you're nerdy about snowboarding.
We began our conversation being discussing Disney nerd.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
passion. It represents passion.
It represents passion, yeah.
Right.
And people have asked me over the years, they're like, so what's the difference between, you know, especially when I was doing Chuck, like, so why a nerd? Why not a geek? What's the difference? I'm like, first of all, that's your research to do. Second, if you really want to know, neither one of them even pertain to, in their origin, somebody who you would stereotype as someone who's smart or into math or science or whatever. A geek was a term used in carnivals, and nerd comes from Dr. Seuss. It was a totally fictitious name that he just used as a rhyming mechanism, which is part of the reason why I loved it so much. But
I love that you know that you have those answers at the ready. And
sure.
Is it safe to assume it's because of your experiences in Chuck that you were forced to learn this vernacular, or you already?
Oh, it certainly came up in that. I mean, you know, growing up, I was certainly just like anybody else, where you go geek, nerd, dweeb. You know, it's all kind of. I actually saw a Venn diagram a couple of years ago that was very interesting. It was like a triple Venn, and one was like dweeb, one was geek, one was dork maybe, and then of course in the center was nerd. So it kind of encompasses everything.
But you know what? Even though it's painfully obvious and crystal clear now that you've explained it, I don't know that I've heard anyone attach the word passion as a way to describe what the word nerd has become. Now it's crystal clear.
Well, it may be because I feel like that has been something that we've initiated.
Right.
But I believe that, you know, part of the reason why I came to that conclusion is because I have used it in my own way of explaining, and I've heard other people, you know, when somebody goes, oh my God, nerding out about this.
Right.
They're super nerdy about that. And it's not something that is typically nerdy. It's not math. It's not video games. It's, oh my God, she was nerding out about this Us Weekly article about, you know, Brad and Angelina or whatever.
Yeah, it no longer has the, you know, meaning that was originally attached, or certainly not the definition. And I think geek is lopped in as well. I think, Jamie, you yourself refer to yourself as a Disney geek as opposed to a Disney geek. So it's really just describing passion.
I think so.
That's it.
I'd like to take it that way.
And is that what the site is also kind of fueled by?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, I just, you know, I saw a lot of different sites that, and part of the reason why we went with nerd also was because, excuse me, wow, that Stella's really doing his job. But there were so many websites that were geek something or something geek, Geekology, Geek Chic Daily. There weren't really any that were nerd, and I just kind of liked the term of it. Plus, our first shirt that we made was just nerd, just the word nerd, and it was in this Pretendo font, like Nintendo, and an N for Nintendo. So it just kind of had thematically was a little bit more like that. So there was a lot of reasons why, but. I think geek has the same kind of connotation. I go to Geekology. I go to these. The Nerdist, by the way, Chris Hardwick. Have you ever had him on the show?
Yeah, he was great.
Awesome.
One of our
Chris
favorites.
is so awesome, and I feel like somebody who also gets it. You know, like you can be passionate about this stuff. It doesn't mean you're not a normal person. Everybody has their passions. Everybody, you know, has their thing.
It is the new norm.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of discussion about what the new normal is, mostly in the financial world. This is the new normal, they keep saying.
Yeah.
There is no coming back. Those of us who are watching Mad Men this year, you talk, Matthew Weiner is constantly talking about people are waiting for things to get back to normal. They're not. This is the new
norm, and it will continue to be. No, this is the new norm, and this is the new norm.
And I think the passion of being nerdy about something is the new norm, for sure.
And also just the idea of people, you know, look, 50 years ago, we lived in a society that was much more physically accomplished, physically driven, you know, and even before that, I'll go back to the Disney Paul Bunyan cartoon, where the whole real premise was Paul Bunyan was like the biggest, most badass axeman in the world, until this little squirrely man of industry comes along, and he's got the new electric saw or motorized saw, and they have a competition, and the motorized saw wins by 1/4 inch, which even as a child, I was like, that's not fair, count the logs. Just because one log was like 1/4 inch thicker, like, let's get down to it, you know what I mean? So ridiculous.
So you
OCD.
were upset as a child.
I was upset about it as a child. But industry has never stopped.
Right.
And industry is something that comes out of the mind far more than it comes out of the brawn of things, you know?
Sure, of course.
So clearly the world is going to be run by the mind, and those that are using their mind, the nerds, the geeks, the whatever you want to label it, which again will just get watered down because everybody will be.
Right.
Everybody will be. It won't be about like the jock quarterback. By the way, that jock quarterback, his pads, his new helmet, all the new equipment he's wearing, the wicking, material that Nike, some nerd created all that.
Yeah.
That guy is protected by nerds.
As it were.
As it were, exactly. And in the next 10 years, 20 years, I mean, who knows what sports are going to look like. I've read so many articles about NASCAR drivers and how they're pushing, or just racing in general, how the envelope is pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed until eventually it's like these guys are taking on so many G's that their suits have to change and their cars have to change. And eventually they're going to be driving so fast that their downforce will be so great that you're going to start having tracks that will corkscrew and they'll be going upside down and doing all kinds of, because that's what people are going to want. It's like, you got the technology. Like, I'm sick of watching them going around in an oval over and over and over again. Like, do some cool stuff with the car, and it'll get dangerous. And then people will do more things.
Why can't they go through a ring of fire?
Why not? Why not? So it's all that stuff that I think that the world, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, those guys are, or were in Steve's case, insane visionaries.
Oh, sure.
That have changed the world. And there are young Bill Gates and Steve Jobs coming up in the world right now. And I would love to be, really what I want the Nerd Machine and our kind of, sister, the umbrella of the Nerd Machine, because there are other little companies within that we're working things out. And as far as content and providing content, because I want to go make my own series. I want to make my own movies, and I want to market them all directly to our fan bases, like you guys do with your show. Yeah. You don't need to have this on
the internet
network.
Is the ultimate. If you build it, they will come.
Absolutely.
You just have, because it's all niche,
Yeah, but it's also about taking care of your, knowing your fan base and taking care of them.
Right.
But I'm sorry, continue.
But they're like-minded.
Yeah.
So the great stand-ups were the ones who had a point of view that was honest and true to themselves.
Yeah.
And then the people who related to it were their biggest fan base.
Yeah.
It hasn't really changed. And so now we mentioned Mad Men. They can brand a network, AMC, by having only 1 million viewers.
Isn't that
And
incredible?
that's a niche, gigantic success.
Isn't that incredible?
Winning the Emmy 4 years in a row. So now the governing board acknowledges it too. But
the problem with that, though,
sure,
is that then you have, or not the problem, but one of the consequences. Thank you. You got a show like Mad Men that is a great show, no argument there at all. And you have a show like The Walking Dead, which I think the first season had so much awesomeness in. The Walking Dead gets far more viewers than Mad Men, and yet their budget is shoestring because all of AMC's money is going to Mad Men because they're winning awards. Except that the majority of people of AMC are watching The Walking Dead. Shouldn't you be able to monetize that? Shouldn't you say, if you want to watch Mad Men, then pay this much, and if you want to watch Walking Dead, pay this much,
right?
And then you'll allow the viewers to be able to dictate. Well, we want them. We like this show, so take the money that we're paying for that show and make it a better show.
Right.
Let the zombies be cooler, or put more in, or kill them in different ways, or go to a bigger location.
A different barn.
But because there is no money,
right,
they can't.
Right.
And so then the quality of that content ends up going downhill. I mean, oh man, there was some really cool stuff. Did you watch The Walking Dead at all? I don't know. But there was some cool stuff they did in the second season. But
I'm picking this up from the ether in terms of
the finale was just really a bummer for me. Like there were just things that made absolutely no sense.
Right.
None whatsoever. And you go, why? Why did you? What happened there?
But that doesn't sound like a money issue. That sounds like a creative.
Well, Darabont left. I mean, there's all kinds of things that happened, but I don't know.
But I mean, first of all, I love the conversation to go off on as many possible tangents as possible. That's what makes the show exciting to me.
I do it all the time, sorry.
But no, I'm saying thank you.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, being on point is way overrated. There is no point. There's just a conversation. Honestly, we're exchanging ideas.
Kevin Pollak show, where there is no point.
Yeah. Our mantra used to be, we're not ready, and now it's, there's no point.
There's no point.
No, the idea of reaching out and finding your niche audience and having them relate to your efforts and you relating to their interests, that's exciting as hell.
Absolutely.
And that is the great new frontier of the internet and in terms of build it, they will come that I was trying to get at. The Nerd Machine is what the mothership site is called.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And right now it's mainly apparel. It's mainly, it's allowing a place for nerds or those who call themselves nerds or are proud of that to grab a t-shirt, grab a hoodie, grab a jacket. The idea ultimately is that that'll be the last thing in their shopping cart. They'll come and see an awesome new movie for $5,
right.
And they'll own it. It won't be streaming, you own it. You download it, you own it. You'll see a new series, a new installment of a series. Or you'll come and see awesome behind-the-scenes footage of us at CES or Comic-Con, or whatever the case may be.
And don't you think it's still just about finding the right brand that wants to finance the project? I mean, it seems like for creative people in the last 2, 3, 4 years, the onus has been on us to find a partner, a brand that says, okay, you want to get off the grid. Because when we did this, the idea was, let's go back to 1950s television, the birth of it. This hour brought to you by.
Yeah.
So if you can find the right...
I totally believe in that, by the way.
Yeah.
I think network television needs to do more of that.
Well, it's why it's not the future, why they're not the future.
I just don't understand. I don't understand how it maintains.
Right.
If DVR is more and more people are watching DVR. By the way, this is on the heels of me just doing a network pilot. so
but also
I do believe in it still to an extent.
Right.
And I hope that if the show's picked up, I hope people will tune in.
Oh, it's not
but
going
I also
away.
understand why people don't.
Well, it's not going away tomorrow. It's just that the number went from 30 million to 6 million.
Yeah. But not that there were 30 million viewers and now there are not. It's that people consume, 6 million consume live television. The other 24 million are consuming online or through their DVR or whatever.
Yeah.
And you can't monetize that in the same way. You just can't do it.
Right. So they're playing catch up. Meanwhile, on the internet, we're playing convincing.
Yeah.
Let go of those numbers and the Nielsen's and just focus on the niche, because that's where the partnership is.
Yeah. It's a brave new world.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. It absolutely is. Especially if you are delivering content that your fans want.
Yeah.
Then it's a win-win-win across the board.
Absolutely.
Well, that's exciting as hell.
Thanks, man. Yeah. I think it is. I think one of the biggest things that I want to, and anybody who's watching the show right now, the biggest kind of conversation I want to start is that the consumer is the new producer.
Right.
It's not about a studio putting millions of dollars into a show. It's about you as the consumer knowing that your money does mean something. So if you go and rip something, if you go illegally download something, you're hurting that which you want. So I know the music industry didn't go about it in the right way. They started, first of all, it was their bad. They should have been ahead of the 8 ball and talked to people beforehand and said, hey, look, we're about to get into the digital age where music can be a file. It's not even on a physical thing, it's a file. And you'll be able to share it with anybody. And we kind of love that idea, except that we won't be able to produce more music if you do that. So can we work something out? But they didn't. Instead, they went after people, and 12-year-olds and their grandparents who were listening to the 12-year-old going, yeah, go on LimeWire and get it. Well, okay. And then feds are busting down their door being, you're going to prison.
Can I hear Grandma one more time?
Well, I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
It's almost like Mr. Owl or Mr. Turtle from the Tootsie Roll commercial. Ask Mr. Owl. Anyway, but you can't do that.
Right.
That's who's buying your product.
Right.
Don't go and screw them because you fucked up. Don't do that.
Well, what's surprising also is that HBO proved 25 years or 30 years ago that subscription television
works.
Does work.
Yeah.
And people will pay for the best quality out there, and that they get to say, we're not TV, we're HBO. And they're spending more money on shows than anyone else, or so it seems.
Sure.
And if we're all insisting that works, it's a little bit of a catch-22 in the sense that you can't get their subscription money without showing them how great you are.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the full circle of the Netflix thing, and maybe that's where it's headed. I do know that it's a very exciting time for creativity because you have the networks. You just did another pilot. Peter Tolan, by the way, congratulations. Doesn't get much better than him.
Oh, he's so great.
Oh, my
and DJ
goodness.
Nash, DJ who wrote the pilot that Peter is shepherding.
Right.
Super talented, super funny guy. Was a stand-up in New York for years, then came out to L.A. and has been kicking around on different shows for the last 5 or 6.
Name rings a bell.
What's that?
I think I might know him from the stand-up
Yeah,
world.
I mean, he's written on Till Death, on Bent, on Traffic Lights,
You just named things, not shows. Just so you know. Beer can.
He worked on coffee mug, glasses on the table. You didn't see that one? It was great. It had so many. It had these people. Got Jamie something and Kenny.
There's still talk on the interwebs that Chuck may not be over. So where you want to address this for a nanosecond?
Look, I
know you're.
Chuck is over as a series.
Right.
There's no way that we could come back now as a series.
Right.
I had pitched to Warner Brothers and I had pitched to our showrunners at Chuck that I believe wholeheartedly if we were to make an hour and a half, 2-hour Chuck movie sold solely on the internet,
right,
just to our fans, and we give them the heads up, we say, hey, this is coming.
Right.
Rally the troops, go spread the word. We're making a movie. And it'll be a Chuck movie, and it'll be fun continuation of this story. And it's for you guys. We're not trying to give it to everybody else in the world. If people find it and they like it, great. But it's for you. And worldwide, there's, I don't know, I would say conservatively about 10 million Chuck fans still.
$5 a head?
$5 a head.
That's more than enough to shoot.
More than enough.
Yes.
And to give them something that's affordable and awesome to continue the journey.
And they get to keep it, as you said.
And they get to keep it.
Yeah.
And they get to keep it.
So the geniuses in the suits, when they heard this idea of yours, said, I got a lunch coming up.
Yeah, kind of. You know,
I mean, look.
They have a hard time wrapping their head around it.
They get it, but they're not ready.
I wonder if they even get it.
Do you?
And I don't blame them necessarily, but I blame them because that's their job. I think that they need to understand it's not, by the way, it's not rocket science. It's actually super easy math. Right now, it's rocket science. Right now, the Nielsen's and all that stuff, and like how, I don't know how, it's almost like, it's like, all right, we're going to draw a circle on the ground, throw money up in the air and see what lands. Okay, and that's the God. That whole joke. It's like, how do you know how to monetize what you're doing right now?
Right.
It's so weird numbers that you're pulling from everywhere. How about you just, as Warner Brothers, you just have a website and say, hey, Chuck fans, this is the official Do You Want a Chuck Movie website. Sign up. Instead, they're letting fans do all these random other things. But if the fans knew that there was an official site saying, we'll make this movie if 5 million of you sign up.
Right.
It's up to you. Let them do that. And if 5 million fans vouch, we will do this, or you can do a Kickstarter style.
Right.
If they'll put $5 in or whatever. I don't know. It's not hard.
They need to see this.
It's just not what they're used to.
That's it.
Yeah, they're not used to it, and so they go, I don't know. And it's
also,
like, come on.
Here's maybe the biggest problem. There doesn't seem to be a person who will take on the responsibility of that decision. They all want to be able to point a finger and say, but he said we could. And that position of decision making, forget committee. It's everybody wants to be able to point a finger. And something this new, it's just still too new.
But is it that new?
No.
Is it that new?
No, this is ultimately what was, the Barker at the circus was doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's happening right now in content online.
Yeah.
In fact, if anything, you have a better shot of having a successful online IP if it was already a reasonably successful television IP. You already have a built-in audience.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're having to just, market this thing that nobody's ever heard of. It's like, no, that show, Chuck, that you all really liked, there's going to be a movie of it. And a movie. There's going to be a movie of it.
No, it's new. It's so new, it's called a movie.
Movie.
Yeah.
And we're not going to go like what Firefly did, which I loved, because I love Firefly and I loved Serenity. But they went to theaters with it.
Right.
And I'm not actually sure how successful that was or not. But Firefly fans loved it. They only got 13 episodes of the show. That was a movie based on 13 episodes, not even a full one season.
Right.
We had 5 seasons to give the fans and to give them a continuation of those adventures. And 10 million, if they just go into their books and go, this is how many people we have watching in Japan and then Brazil. I mean, if I look at my Twitter, somehow Brazil is either super into Twitter or super into the show or both, because the Brazilians are crazy fun. They're like, oh, kisses from Brazil, like every other tweet. It's like, great, I got to go to Brazil at some point. It must be fun.
I don't know if this is from Brazil, but let's offer up another tweet 5 at Van Bilbob.
T5.
Thank you.
T5. T5 for
We're contractually obligated. Ready? Luke or Han?
Oh, Han.
Nerdmobile or DeLorean?
Well, it's not a Nerdmobile,
I know,
first
right?
of all. So I'm going to go DeLorean.
Jeff or Lester?
Lester.
Trank darts or Kung Fu?
Kung Fu.
Morgan or Sarah?
Oh, you horrible person.
It's like a Sophie's choice.
Mara.
Nice.
Sorgan.
Nice.
That's
Nicely
for
done.
you.
Nicely
How do you
done.
pick between your best friend and your wife.
We'll just go on right to the next one. At Sweetness Kayla, because there were so many I wanted to get in as many.
No,
as we
let's
could.
let's keep cranking through.
Goatee or mustache?
Goatee.
Superman or Batman?
Oh, jeez.
I know. They're not supposed to be easy.
Superman.
Mac and cheese or sushi?
Oh, dude. How do I...
Depends on the day.
I know, right? Sushi.
Three Stooges or Marx Brothers?
Marx Brothers.
And by far the most difficult of all, biking or yodeling? That's it?
Yodeling whilst biking? No, I'm going to go with biking on that one. Let's do another one.
Nicely done. From James, let's see, did we do that one? Yep. This is from the Facebook, Jason Ward. Hair, first season or last?
Last.
Villain, Dalton or Chase?
Dalton.
Better Greta Olivia Munn or Isaiah Mustafa?
That's tough.
Yeah.
Olivia.
Wienerlicious or Orange Orange?
Orange.
Sarah or Miranda from ME2?
What?
I know, that's what it says.
ME2?
Or Me Too? It says ME2.
Mission Impossible? Sarah or Miranda from ME2? I don't even know what that... Oh, Sarah.
Nicely done.
I don't know who
Because that's
that
the
other
correct
person
answer.
is. Oh, is that the correct?
No, I have no idea.
I like that you still call it the Facebook and the Twitter.
Absolutely.
Gosh.
Yeah, I insist. Last one, at Serendipity WAF. If you had a Star Wars themed costume party, which you totally should,
Which
who
I
would
totally
you
have.
come dressed as and why?
Oh, there's so many choices. I mean, I would probably go Han, just because he's one of the greatest characters in filmdom, as far as I'm concerned.
Wow, Jamie, he's been saying this since I've known you.
Oh, really?
Well, I say him or Indiana Jones, but
Yeah,
they're
I mean,
basically the
Harrison
same
Ford,
person.
Harrison Ford in that stretch of his life was
Yeah.
the luckiest. Not just lucky, because I think he
Delivered.
owned those characters. He delivered wholeheartedly. But those two are some of the most iconic characters ever. Oh, Harrison. And the name.
Yeah.
Who's named Harrison?
Well, that's what I love about Letterman when he introduces him. I bought my first truck at Harrison Ford. Yeah.
So probably Han, but
yeah.
it would be really fun, depending on the crowd that you had invited. Like if they were super nerdy, like really into it. If
So
you
this
could,
hasn't happened yet? You haven't had the Star Wars themed party?
no, I haven't.
Well, it's-
I don't really do theme parties. Is that weird? I don't even like Halloween.
Now we're done.
Oh,
We just
No, I like.
finished.
I do.
It's
I
the
do like
greatest.
Halloween, but it's honestly I find costumes and all that to be a giant pain in the ass. sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's like, "Oh, what are you gonna be? What are you gonna be?" I'm gonna be there.
you need
I'll
to-
be at the party.
You
Is
need to
that
speak
enough?
with Nathan Fillion.
Oh.
He builds his
No,
own.
I know he does.
Yes.
And Nathan comes to my Halloween parties.
Oh, I
and
see you have Halloween parties. You just hate the holiday.
I don't care. I just find it to be like a much ado about nothing. It's, you know,
So you
and
don't dress
everybody's
up-
got to be so quirky and well thought out. Although I'm not saying I don't appreciate a really good Halloween costume. Right? Some like Nathan's. Nathan's are insane. I mean, it's just basically the same costume every year, but he adds more characters. You guys have got to see. I wonder if I might have posted it. Some
He
footage.
showed it on here.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
So good.
Go to Hulu.com and look
Yeah.
up the episode.
Yeah. But I just, you know, whenever it's just this big, oh, what are you going to be? What are you going to be? It's like, what?
But you have a Halloween party.
Yeah, because it's an excuse to have a party. I like parties.
All right. So we'll have a place to go this year, honey.
Heck yeah, you guys should totally come.
Wait, so were you just pretending to like my Rapunzel costume when I showed it to you?
Not at all. No, I wasn't pretending at all. I'm not saying I don't appreciate other people and their costume choices.
For you
In fact,
personally.
I'm kind of jealous that you have the wherewithal to go through all the painstaking process of finding all the pieces. I don't.
Right.
I don't. It's too much.
For you personally. You appreciate it in others, but for you personally.
Sure.
Right.
If I had my
it's
druthers, I'd take
another
a white
thing that I
sheet,
can
I'd cut out a couple of holes and be a ghost every year.
As long as you said ghost. All right.
You
Mass
should
Effect
go one
2.
step further and cut out a bunch of holes and be Charlie Brown.
Nice.
Oh, that's solid.
Nice.
There you go.
And there you go.
We went full circle with the animation as well. Mass Effect 2 is what they meant by ME2.
Still Sarah.
Nice. But at least we got an answer. I want you to start thinking about the Larry King, because we're just under 2 hours here. And although the record is John Landis near 3 hours, I'm not going to put you through that. But I want you to...
I love John Landis so much.
Oh, boy. You need to go to Hulu.com, mister, because his interview, the stories that this guy... I mean,
He's directed some of my favorite films of all time. Of all time.
Let's list them now.
Well, Three Amigos.
Now you're back in.
Oh,
You're back in.
back in.
Did you get the Blu-ray?
I haven't yet.
Because it has deleted scenes.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah, it has like
Yes.
20 minutes
I can't
of
even
extra
imagine
footage.
that movie having deleted scenes.
Yeah, it has 20 minutes of extra
What
footage. You gotta get
didn't
it.
work? You know, like what was just not fitting in Three Amigos? Coming to America, Spies Like Us. His comedies, particularly, I think.
Trading Places.
Trading Places. The fact that he even had the guys from Trading Places make their cameo in Coming to America.
Mm-hmm.
You know when he was walking on the. You know.
What's his
So good.
you know his signature, right? That he puts in every movie?
What?
See you next Wednesday.
Is that really in every movie?
It's in all of his movies.
Almost
Almost all of
Yeah,
his
he
movies.
clarified
Oh,
here
I
saying
did
it's,
not
it's
know
not
that.
in everyone. It's
You have
like-
to look for it.
Yeah.
I did not
It's like
know
on
But
a
there's
movie
usually like a
poster
movie
behind.
poster, or like it's on the marquee, or no, they say it in the Thriller video, like scrawled in blood. It said "See you next Wednesday," or there's
Really?
like, yeah, you have to look for it because there's like either like a poster.
I
or
love
it's on
Easter eggs like that.
Yeah.
It makes so much fun.
And he spent a lot of time with Hitchcock that he spoke about over at the Universal lot.
Really?
The Easter egg king.
yeah.
Anyways,
Gosh.
Three Amigos.
Oh,
it's all coming back
gosh.
to you. Wasn't there some
I
talk
quote it
recently?
all the time.
Wasn't there talk
too.
recently about a sequel or something?
Oh no,
Ah!
my friend is writing one for fun.
Oh, right.
Your friend is writing one?
Writing
It's writing
one for fun.
yes,
Oh, just for
called
fun, a
Those
little
Dark
spec?
Amigos.
As a spec script.
Yes.
Nice.
Maybe you throw a rock. Maybe in that dry riverbed. In the dry riverbed. Okay, or that.
All the moments. What did you yell out in the grocery store? And then somebody
Son of
answered,
a motherless goat.
Oh, yeah.
somebody answered you back from the other aisle,
Yes, yes.
right?
Say we will die like dogs.
Dogs, we will die.
You will die like dogs. No, we will not die like dogs. We will fight like lions.
It's a sweater!
Is this sweater?
It's a sweater!
Bartender, we'll have 3 beers, please. Oh, we ain't got no beer. Only tequila. What's tequila? It's like beer. Is it fattening? Fattenings? You know what? Never mind. 3 tequilas, please. I mean, I will go for days, clearly.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
Probably watered down.
You love this, though. Yeah. Nicely done.
And scene.
And it lasted the whole show.
It lasted the scene.
Somehow we made
You
it.
nurse it. You nurse
You
it.
pace yourself.
I don't want everyone to know I'm an alcoholic.
Interesting to use the word know instead of think.
Yeah.
All right, well, sir, you've answered all your questions correctly. I see no reason why you can't get to the next round. How many times have you been to Club 33 I have here?
Twice.
We went for Valentine's, and can I say, I recommend it.
Yeah, I mean, the food's good. You can have a drink there.
The food's
going
good
back
enough.
To the alcohol.
The food's good enough.
Yeah.
And the alcohol, yes. But Valentine's, they did a very special spread there.
Did they?
Because that can be a very anticlimactic, too much pressure holiday.
Yeah.
It was the best
No,
ever.
I think so too.
And also, you walk out when the park is closed and there's no one there.
Which,
Really?
yeah, we had to be escorted out through the front gates because there was nobody there. And you walk down Main Street and it's dead. It's crazy.
No one.
You know what we should
in the
look
park.
into, seriously?
All right.
I had some friends whose parents, when I was in high school, their parents worked for Amgen. And Amgen had gone in with like another company and they rented the park out for a night. And it was literally...
How much could it be? $100,000?
No, it's got to be more than that. I mean, they rented it out for like the second half of a day. So it was just that, it was that night.
Right.
I don't know how much it is, but to be able to rent a park out and just run around like fools with nobody there especially at night.
Invite 100 of your best friends.
Right.
100. You have to be 1,000.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, you're just running through lines, just running on, getting on the line, to the right, on the line.
It's like Cartman Land.
Yeah. That nobody else came to.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. So we should talk about that sometime.
Okay.
All right. So what are we doing now?
You're gearing up. We both worked with Kenan Thompson.
Yes, we did. What did you work with Kenan on?
The movie's about to come out this summer. It's called Magic of Belle Island, I believe, the Rob Reiner film with Morgan Freeman and Virginia Madsen.
That's awesome.
It ain't bad. Being coached by Magic Johnson, ridiculously cool.
So insane.
Right?
One of the coolest things that's ever happened to me in my life. I've never scored 1 point in those NBA All-Star celebrity games, but coming off the court after D'ing up Common or something, he was driving for the basket, and I come off the court, and Magic passed me on the back and says, "Hey man, that was good D." I could have died right there.
Yeah, that's it.
I could have been, all right, that's it. Magic said I played good D. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah. Did you play much ball as a kid?
No, I mean, a little bit.
Right.
Teeny, if there was a basketball hoop around and you had friends, you'd throw a basketball or attempt to.
Right.
In high school, I was always really in theater, and then my senior year, I was kind of like, I really don't want to walk away from high school knowing that I didn't really play any sports. So I tried to, foolishly, I tried to walk on to the varsity basketball team senior year, which didn't work. I mean, I was tall, so I thought, it didn't work. And then I tried to walk onto the men's varsity volleyball team, and it did work.
Nice.
Although I sat left bench most of the season, but it was still, and I was lanky. I just hit a growth spurt, so I was couldn't control my limbs very well. I was Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
And basketball is much more coordination than you realize.
Way more. But I do play a lot of pickup games now that I moved to LA.
Now.
I love basketball.
Also, for you kids out there watching and or listening, when you walk on and try out for the varsity basketball team, maybe sing less.
Did I do too much of that?
Than our guests might have.
I'm dribbling, just dribble the ball.
Don't project.
I'm trying hook shots. All right.
Hey, did you see the sky hook? Okay, we've got the Chris Evans Larry King game. This is the one who wrote in, and the winner of the T-shirt this week, Kevin Pollak's Chat Show T-shirt of your very own. In fact, we're shipping this one off to Calgary, Canada, which makes Jamie very upset when we have to ship things to Canada. Because it costs more, and her nickname's Depression Baby. So this will be your example of how the Larry King game works, right? Bad Larry King impression. It's a Larry sharing too much information about himself, so you know it's not about you, it's about Larry.
Nah.
And then you go to the phone, the name of the city should be funny sounding. This one from Chris Evans. I lost a nipple in Vietnam. Not during the war. It was 1982 during a little sex tourism. Of course, in those days, we just called it fucking Southeast Asia. Pahrump, Nevada, go. There's Chris Evans. There's your winner. Thank you very much.
Is it Chris Evans of Captain America?
It is. That's the funny part. He likes all of his stuff shipped to Calgary in the Canada to try to throw you off the trail. He has everything shipped up there. It sits there for a month.
He's a good writer. That was some solid material.
Right.
Yeah. He wrote that, right?
Hey,
you
of course.
Just read it?
Yeah. And now you need to write and perform your very own.
Oh, is it my turn now?
Well, we're coming up. I'm stalling as much as I can. Your first meeting with Joseph McGinty Nickel, fun, enjoyable?
Who?
That was the correct answer. Joseph McGinty Nickel.
Oh, you jumped McG.
McG.
Oh, gosh. Oh, wow, that took a second. It was fantastic, actually.
So this is like the first audition for the show?
I think it might have been, or a callback. No, it was a callback.
He's executive producer, Chuck.
He's an executive. He directed the pilot, which made him an executive producer. His company produced it with Josh and Chris. Look, I really dug McG as a director. I'm not a big fan of sugarcoating things. I'm not a big fan of the coddling that goes on of like, oh yeah, that was really great. just a couple of things. Like, just yell it. Just you're behind Video Village. Say, hey, I need it like 5% faster, or bring it down like 2 degrees, or make it blue. I don't know. Whatever your direction is, just yell it to me. Like, I'm not the type of person that because I feel like when they all right, let's cut, and then they kind of trot over and they're trying to use kid gloves with you. Like, that's more embarrassing. Like, don't do that. You're like as if what you're essentially telling the entire crew is
I'm going to go talk to the crazy person now.
Exactly. Like, you can't just talk to me like a regular person. Please don't do that.
Right.
And McGee's got a ton of energy, endless. It'd be 4 a.m. and he was still up, and he would still cheerlead and like get people going, and I appreciate that. I think it's super important. You know, so it was good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like to hear that, my friend. And I wish you tremendous success, of course, with the pilot. And I want to jinx it, but we spoke about the percentages and how these things normally work.
Sure, yeah.
I believe I've stalled as long as I can, sir.
Well, I was fortunately pacing around thinking about what I was going to say as Larry King before. So I don't know if it's going to be funny or not, but I was trying to work on the stature too.
Yeah, no, listen, it's already funny. You're there. Just that. That right there, you win.
If I could
There's your camera there.
make myself more gaunt.
Yeah, you're there. You're home.
Speaking of which, I had my lower ribs removed a few years ago so I could take my dentures out and give myself a gummy. Boca Raton, you're on.
That's it. That's it.
I mean,
that is it, my friend. Deep and way out of here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Please stay seated. I can't thank you enough.
Jamie's so over it. She's so like, why did I
No, she has to keep the check.
decide to do this show?
No, she was assigned. No, she's talking with 4,700 people in the thing.
Tell them all
in
I
the chat
said
room.
hi. Every single one individually.
By the way, honestly and truly, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, man. I love that our conversation at a Mark Burnett Christmas party finally came to fruition, and we were able to hang out, and I was able to do your show, and I can't even tell you how much I appreciate it, because as we talked about, with talk shows traditionally, at least nowadays, whatever. I don't know what Carson did or whatever.
Same thing, 6 minutes, in and out.
But pre-interviews and all that as well?
Sure.
Yeah. They're the worst. Yeah. You end up having this, for anybody who's watching right now, you go and do a talk show, Leno or Letterman, or I think actually Craig Ferguson tears up his pre-interview questions, which I love. I've never done a show, but I'd love to.
But that still suggests that you had to do the pre-interview.
But you still have to do this whole other thing where people are essentially just judging your anecdotes.
Right. You're auditioning anecdotes from the phone the day before.
Yeah.
What else you got? Well, the family went skiing. Oh, that sounds good. And then you tell the skiing story, and they go, what else you got?
Yeah, what else you got? Yeah. And then when you're on the show, and and Jay's like, yeah, so what'd you do this summer? You know where it's going. So trying to make it organic and real, as if somebody's really just genuinely asked you a question, for me is almost impossible, because I'm not playing a character. I'm myself. I'm not being Chuck, where I'm doing a scene with someone.
Right.
I'm like, can we just? Why couldn't I just sit down here and you ask me what I did this summer? And I could tell you something. And by the way, and if I'm boring, you're supposed to be a comedian, right? You can be funny, and then that'll help the whole thing out.
I can make fun of you.
You can, sure, do whatever you need to do. Yeah. But I'd rather just have at least an honest conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
So the very fact that you do that, there's no pre-interview, you guys just look up a bunch of stuff that you want to ask us, I can't even tell you how much I appreciate that. So thank you.
Listen, you're welcome.
And you're incredibly funny. And your Christopher Walken is the best on the market.
Stop it right there, unless you need to.
Spacey's good, Jay Moore's good, they're good, you're great.
Well, you know what? You'll come on Talking Walking, and we'll do that next. We'll sit around and shoot the shit for an hour, and we'll drive people crazy.
Yeah.
And I will not show him my Disney room.
Nope.
What?
He's not allowed to go to the Disney room.
I will see your Disney room.
No.
All right. All right, well, maybe.
Come hell or high water, I will see your Disney room.
Maybe he'll come to the Cinco de Mayo party. Don't press your luck. He's already got the Spanish accent.
Do it.
Oh, wow.
I don't like your Disney room. I love it.
There it is. Wow.
It's that walk and whisper.
Yes.
So people leave that out.
Yeah, you want to scare them. You want the skin to crawl.
Oh, goodness.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Endlessly.
Yeah.
Sit there and comfortably while I wrap things up for the fine folks at home, around the world, and at sea.
The innards of my Stella bottle.
And then we'll get more beer. Thank you all once again. Look to the to the chat show schedule. As I mentioned, Jason Biggs coming up. After him, Stephen Collins, and then Adam Brody, and then Ken Marino. We got some great shows coming up, so check us out. Go to the Hulu. Support us all you can in the various ways that I suggested. I do want to thank Dr. Chen here in the studio, as always. His gorgeous video will be up on the various channels that were available as of the start of the show. We've got Justin, J-Mac, and Josh, the three killer J's out there in the outer studio running things. And David, we're doing the makeup today. And Adam, our intern, we're not sure what happened to him. He might have just said, fuck him. I really can't take it anymore. And Elaine, of course, our social media genius. Who am I leaving out? It's always someone. Oh, Sammy, thanks for Skyping in from the wonderful Hotland. I said David, the makeup guy. Yeah. And Jamie, thank you. Yeah, nicely done. Until next time, and as always, get out of my face.